Hello, and welcome to Session 0 of Starscape. This is an actual play of a very close to being published TTRPG. So technically it's a beta test, but more it's like a ramp up for the Kickstarter. If you go right now to goldenlasso games/Kickstarter, you can follow the page and be notified when it goes live later this year in June. So Starscape is a found family story of a sci-fi crew traveling through space. It focuses on a group of core personalities and how their trust in one another changes over time and through their adventures. You create your crew, a ship, a bit of shared history, and then play to find out if you come together when it matters most or fracture when faced with the challenges of an unpredictable universe. It is built on a Powered by the Apocalypse frame with a lot of modifications. Let's go around the table and you can just introduce yourself since we don't know who you are in the game yet. Yeah. I guess let's start over here.
I'm first.
Yes.
You are all now my hostages. Hi, everybody. I'm CADave. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm super hyped to find, like I mentioned in the Discord earlier today, I'm super hyped to find out who I'm going to be. Because it's fun. It's meeting new friends and then making them part of me.
Holding them close forever.
Maybe even literally.
Yeah,
during the course of the game.
Yeah, with the sci-fi setting, you're like, well, that's probably possible.
Actually a possibility. Hello, everybody. I am Jay Africa, he, him. And likewise, glad to be back with this crew. And I'm very excited, to see who we all end up playing this time around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. I'm so excited to be back sitting in this lovely group of people to play this wonderful game and find out what wonderful messes we're going to make.
And hi everybody, I'm Sam. Also super excited to see what our crew can do in space instead of on the land.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
And I'm Kimmy. I use she, her pronouns. I own Golden Lasso Games, and I wrote this game. I've been working on it for better part of 3 years now. We've done tons of playtesting, and I finally feel like it's ready to see the public and have people see it. So it's very exciting. We're going to start with Session 0 tonight, which includes the in-game rules for building the universe, building the ship, building the crew all together. So that's what we're going to be doing. We have done a little bit of chatting ahead of time just to lessen the time of like debating different things, but we haven't made final decisions on any of it yet. So you will get a flavor of like what it would feel like at your table when you're deciding. So the first thing we have to do is we have to do setting the scene. All right. So first off, you have to choose what flavor of science fiction we want to do. And we've talked about this a little bit. And one of the features of Starscape is you can absolutely play in your favorite sci-fi IP, or you can create something completely on your own. And you might be wondering, Kimmy, how could I play something that used the same system for Battlestar Galactica and for Star Trek? And I would be like, dear friends. The thing is, if once you watch all these, and this is what I had a baby during a pandemic. So I did a lot of TV watching, like a lot of TV watching, friends. So I watched this sci-fi kick. And once you watch enough science fiction and you read enough science fiction and you consume enough science fiction, because there's so many different ways to consume science fiction now, you start noticing patterns. And that's what I did. And that's what kind of spawned this game. And yes, Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek look very different. The vibe is very different. But at the core of them, the basic stories are about the people on the ships and their interactions with each other and whether they can trust one another. So whether they're fighting Cylons that day or the Borg, mechanically in Starscape isn't as big a deal. Mechanically, it's kind of the same thing. You just kind of describe them differently. The real meat of all those stories is the overarching story of, hey, are we going to You know, are we going to start trusting Picard again after we rescued him from the Borg? Are we going to trust the Cylons who are on the ship? You know, once Gaius Boltar like sees the light, are we going to join his weird cult? What are we going to do? You know, things like that. You know, when you know, Quark gets a new business idea, like, are we going to help him with that, or are we going to try and shut that down? So all these things long term are what the stories are really about. So this kind of mimics that format where each session we might be facing a specific threat, but the long-term stories are going to be about you as a found family interacting with one another and maybe betraying each other or maybe falling in love with each other or whatever happens.
Or both.
Or both.
It's true.
Both at
Or
the same
both.
time.
Colin B. I'll take the combo play thing.
Exactly. D, all of the above. Yes. All right. So some of the suggested flavors for sci-fi are post-apocalyptic. There are examples here, but that doesn't necessarily mean if you're using the game that you are playing in that specific IP, but it's just to like give a better idea. But you can if you want. So post-apocalyptic, like Battlestar Galactica, for example. There's utopian exploration, like Star Trek Next Generation or Lower Decks. Oh my gosh, when I first watched Lower Decks, I was like, someone made my game into a cartoon. It's so good. Near future, like Star Trek Enterprise or The Expanse. Space Western, like The Mandalorian or Firefly. Space opera, like Farscape or Babylon 5. And retro future, like Jules Verne or like Treasure Planet. So we talked a little bit ahead of time. I believe we narrowed it down through like different voting on the Slack to post-apocalyptic, space western, and those are I think
those were
those are the
those are the
two.
top two.
Yeah.
Okay, the other ones there was like sort of thing. So those are two that we can merge together if we want. What were some of the things that you were kind of interested? What were some of the storylines you were interested, or things about those two settings that interested you?
I always like desperate situations,
Yeah.
right? Like whether that's in a Western setting and it's more, people versus nature kind of survival desperation, like, oh, we got to eat through the winter and that kind of stuff. Or if it's more something tragic has happened and our homeworld is blown up and we're out here on our own, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like that's the interesting part of those two for me.
Okay.
I think like a group of people being stuck on a ship is a great way to explore like that desperation and I think for me it's the idea that things can be really, really high stakes with the whole post-apocalyptic things, but they can also be pretty whimsical and high adventure with the whole space cowboy deal,
Mhm.
space western
Pew,
thing.
pew.
So yeah.
Okay.
Mine is very aesthetic based, at least outside of the things that you guys have already basically said, which is that like the whole reason why like everyone was freaked out when Star Wars came out is that it looked lived in, it looked textured, it looked real. And that's one of the things that like originally drew me to things like Firefly and that kind of stuff, where things are so layered and complex, and both Westerns and Apocalyptia have that in spades.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like that.
Definitely. I don't know that I can add anything
Okay,
that
that's fine.
nobody else said, but
It's not a panel. We don't all have to like say everything. Okay. Are we interested in like merging those ideas? Like maybe some sort of apocalyptic event has kind of happened maybe a generation or two ago,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of living in like the Wild West
The
that's like
vast
left
frontier,
over.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
I like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
Okay.
Final
Then
Frontier who? New Frontier.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
just a whole bunch of people trying to survive what's happening now. Okay.
I like that the apocalypse is not like so recent though that it's like we're still getting through it. Like I kind of like storylines where it's distant enough in the past that like things have started to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like I don't know, mid storyline with the
Mhm.
apocalypse.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just like things are livable.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily dealing with direct trauma from experiencing it yourself, but you're still like you've never known anything different, but
Mhm.
there's like interesting like through lines. And I mean maybe some of you have, depending on how long lived your species are. If you decide to be different species, maybe one or two of you did actually experience whatever this big event was. Okay. Okay, next question. If this was a television show or movie, what would it be rated? Would it be all ages, like G or PG?
No.
Mm-mm.
13
I
plus?
think we're too messy for that.
Yeah, no, we're very messy.
Yeah.
They're like rated PG-13 or like 18 plus adult. Now, this doesn't limit our specific number of fucks, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
We'll be keeping a counter.
No,
just put
we're
the
not
one-
keeping
Well,
count.
it is
That's
for
it, you
choosing
used it now.
PG-13
Yeah.
for crying out loud.
Damn it.
And I make that joke every single time I run this game. Everyone who's ever playtested this game is like, oh, I heard that joke. But yeah, anyway.
I would love for it to be like Unsung Tales was fairly PG-13 almost.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't mind kicking it up a little.
Okay.
I think
And,
especially for post-apocalyptic,
yeah,
like
yeah.
you get into some darker themes.
And the West.
And the
Yeah.
West.
Yes.
The West.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So like middle ground there, like more like definitely
Like an
adults.
R rating, not like a like a
And
AO
yeah,
rating.
no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17
It's an MA rating now in games, not an MA rating when they
Oh,
first
right.
started dropping the rating system.
Yeah. There we go.
Or like a PG rating in the 80s.
Right. There you
Yeah, it's the first Mad Max movie. Don't worry about it.
Perfect.
Or Poltergeist.
Yeah,
go. Right.
Yeah.
It's cool. PG's
I
fine.
thought I was
Yeah.
like 5. I turned out fine.
yeah, yeah.
Note to self. As a parent. No, I want my kid to be just like you. It'd be great. Okay. So that's that. Now, does the real Earth and its history exist in our universe? It's specifically worded that way because even if real Earth doesn't exist anymore, maybe like if it existed in recent memory enough, its history does. We don't want to just like erase the history.
Sure.
But it can also be something where it's so far in the past, like Firefly is an example of this, where, yeah, there are some very small tidbits of real Earth, but people don't actually have any real knowledge of it. It's mostly just a myth. So yeah, those are the questions. Yes, no, or maybe, but it's basically just a legend or so far in the past. And I'm also fine if the answer is no. Like, maybe we are from a completely different timeline where humans, maybe none of you will be humans and it won't even be a thing. Like, or maybe, you know, it's, yeah.
I kind of like an aspect of the apocalypse, whatever exactly happened, being like, we lost our technology,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
right? Like, something happened and all of that tech that got colonies out here in the stars
Oh, cool.
is gone.
Oh.
And sometimes you find like a weird thing that doesn't do anything, but it's like a clunky metal thing you can hit things with. You know,
All
but,
of magic, but not magic. It's
Kind
actually
of,
technology.
Yeah.
but like,
We're discovering Asgardian
And now we're-
technology.
There you
Yeah.
go.
yeah, and now we're 500 years later or
That's
whatever,
cool.
and people like there's vague cultural knowledge of like people past they started performing, you know, the C-3PO Star Wars play to the Ewoks, right? Like so, like some references like that still exist, just culturally kind of stuff, but like
As Earth.
maybe I mean like maybe some of those Earth references are still in our
Okay.
shared consciousness, sort of, but less like we know where it is. Even we, you know.
Do you
Somewhere
know?
between like it definitely existed and maybe it's a myth.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Asgard again. Maybe
Yeah.
back to the
There you go.
reference of maybe
Yeah.
maybe it because like I think my inclination is just to run as far away from. I'm still traumatized by the ending of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
I don't want it to have been Earth the whole time.
Yeah.
Spoilers, everyone.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my one thought on Earth at all is just like
Yeah.
distant memory, fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
memory
And we don't
tall
want it-
tales.
And we don't want it to be in like a goal or anything in our game. I'm 100% down with that.
No.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No,
at all.
yeah, and we're not gonna like ride around the corner on some kind of a weird space oxen and see the Statue of Liberty sticking out of the dirt.
No.
That's
no.
not what I'm implying at all.
No,
no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
I
that
do
makes
think it's fun though if like maybe sometimes occasionally we come across like something like reminiscent of Earth, kind of like in like Horizon Zero Dawn
Oh yeah.
finds keys, wind chimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We don't know what this
Things
is.
that we as players like get in the joke and
Yeah.
our and the actual characters are like no idea.
I have
always
no idea
love
what
that.
this is.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I like that, and I love the idea of maybe like some weird like misremembered idioms still exist.
Oh yeah.
Like things
I
that
love
don't
misremembered
yeah it's so good. And like people don't put all your rocks in one basket, and like everyone knows what that means, but nobody knows why we say it. And
I weigh 5 stones, like
Yeah.
you know, a stone.
no. Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. I love it. Okay, perfect. I think I know the answer to this one. Do non-human species exist in our universe?
I think yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sam says yes. Sam, do you like monsters?
What? Me? Ooh.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I've done so many playtests of this game, and I had one once that was like, no, you should all be human, and everyone was like, yes, and I was like, okay, we can do that. It's built to do that.
Not enough
Great.
people have played Mass Effect and fallen in love with Garrus Vakarian, I see.
Yes. People have done Mass Effect with this too.
Oh,
To
yeah.
good success.
It's a really good system for it.
Yeah. All right. So now we have to kind of, we've already decided this ahead of time, but if you were playing this is what your next decision would be. You need to decide on how to describe your crew. The choices are trained service members. You've been trained by an influential organization, but are mostly autonomous, and you will need a captain. There is an NPC captain mechanic in this game. We will not be using it for this playtest because of our decisions, but that's something that will be in the full version of the game, and we've playtested it, and it works really well. So that way, no one has the pressure of
Yeah, I
being the
like
captain
that.
at the table. But so the GM role plays the captain, but the decisions are still in the hands of the players.
That's
It's
awesome.
based on the trust currency that you have.
Mhm.
So it's while none of you have the pressure of being the captain, but you still have all the agency. So like no one gets to like boss everybody around.
Is that
Awesome.
exclusively the way that it's intended to be played, or can there be a player character captain?
There can be, but there's a like in the final rule book. It won't be in the quick start. That's going to be released pretty soon. It says think long and hard about this.
Yeah.
Because while people really like the idea of being a captain, in play it gets very old very
It's a lot of
quickly.
work.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to like boss your friends around in a game
Yeah.
and give them orders in ways that are like still keep everyone having fun. As
It's a
someone-
hard line to walk,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, as someone who's played a prince in Vampire,
I was literally
Oh,
just
that's
thinking
hard.
That is
Yeah.
the entire experience that inspired that mechanic. I'm like, I need a way for there to be a captain without taking agency away from the players and
I
without
lasted
putting all that
a
pressure.
a couple weeks, then I was like, Stu, I gotta get out.
Yeah.
Too much pressure,
Too
man.
much pressure. So anyway, so that's the first choice. We did not decide to go with that choice. There's a crew for hire, like independent operators. You're your own bosses and take jobs as you get them. Having a captain is optional, so you can do that if you'd like. So that's kind of more like a Firefly aesthetic. You all have stuff you can do. You've come together because you have a certain set of skills that all work together. And then there's the final one, which is Fortune's Fools, which shockingly is what you all picked.
Weird.
So chance or fate has forced you together and you are making the best of it in an unpredictable situation. You don't have an official captain, or at least not yet. And we're going to have to decide what brought our group together and what is keeping us together. But we put a pin in that for now. And with that, the choice, we're not going to make our ship yet, but with the being Fortune's Fools, you have 3 types of ships you can choose between. So think about this now. You can have a huge transport or salvage that was originally designed to be a colony, military, or a cruise ship. You have a light freighter, which most people would barely call a ship. Or you have a living being that allows you to live inside or on top of them.
Space whale.
Space
Yeah, basically. So the basic 3 flavors that you can pick between are basically like Star Trek, Firefly, and Farscape. Or kind of like the trained service members, crew for hire, independent operator, and then Fortune's Fools. So those are the shorthand for the 3 types. And you chose Fortune Fools. So anyway, think about those 3 types of ship. We're going to go in now that we've decided those things, and we're going to make your characters. So we've talked a little bit about ahead of time. There are 10 playbooks that come with the game. There's going to be a smaller number with the quick start that's released, but eventually the full game will have 10 different playbooks that you can choose between. Very exciting. You have given me a list of, I think, 6 that you all were kind of interested in, and you had a lot of like doubling up. You're like, my first choice is this, and my second choice is this, but luckily none of you had the same first choice. The choices you've kind of narrowed it down to are the outsider, which is kind of like the spy character, not super upfront about things. The hotshot. The outsider is usually like the Garrick character or like Klingons in early Star Trek. So they can be of a species that people don't trust, or they can be a specific character that people don't trust because they criminal history, something like that. There's the hotshot, which is kind of like the Riker, the Kirk, the Starbuck character. Yeah. So they are the fancy flyer with like some charisma and some sexy time moves. We've got the gifted, who has extra abilities. So they can be like a Deanna Troi, they can be like a River Tam or something like that. We've got the civilian, who can be flavored a lot of different ways. They can be like Anara from Firefly, or they can be like Quark or from DS9, stuff like that. We have the unfamiliar, who is patterned on like Data. We're all trying not to look at Samantha right now. Data or
me.
7 of
I'm the
9.
Oh my God, 7 and 9.
Yeah,
Man,
learning
just-
about humanity. And then we've got the rebel, who can be a Mal from Firefly, or can be Belena Torres from DS9.
No, Voyager.
Voyager, sorry.
My queen.
Yes, the queen. Yeah, I loved her too. So like has been in a fight, has a cause they were fighting for, has moved past that for whatever reason, and is now trying to make a life after that. So those are the playbooks that you were all most interested in. So quick, shout things out, and I'll hand you things, and you can like still swap them and look at them. Yes, Kira Nerys from DS9. Thank you, James.
Give me the creepy one.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about the unfamiliar,
Yes.
right? And okay, and the gifted. I don't know if you want. Someone else wanted the gifted too, though.
I did, but I
Jay.
think I want you to get first look.
Oh, both of those.
Oh,
okay.
okay. I'm happy with the unfamiliar.
Okay.
Now that I've looked at the
All right, you're
playbook.
had you decided?
I'm kind of wishy-washy on the two, but
Okay.
I like Outsider is still number one, I think.
Okay, take a look at both of those.
Sure.
What had you like narrowed things down a bit?
I've kind of decided to. I have like okay concepts for all three of the ones that I looked at.
Okay.
And so I'm like, I think I would like to be the floater and kind of like choose
The
at
last
the end.
one. Okay. I know you had said you were interested in the gifted, but also the hot shot.
Hot shot, yeah.
Okay, here's
yeah.
the one hot shot to look at.
Thank you.
And then I'll take the.
Okay, and there's the
remaining
rebel
one.
right now.
And then the civilian is the other one.
I handed the civilian to Dave too.
Oh yeah, that's right. You
So,
were looking
yeah.
at the civilian.
So just a minute, no.
No, you're good.
Figure that out.
So
So we're sure we're good with there are other sentient beings.
I think that's
Okay.
a definite yes.
I just that makes a big difference on choices.
Yeah.
So
They are PBTA playbooks. Like they're each set up to be a different kind of archetype, but there are some differences between them and other playbooks. There are what I call specialties, but basically skills. So unlike I don't know of any other PBTA game actually that has actual skills. And I thought that was an important thing to add to a sci-fi game because people learn things and make tech, and that's important in sci-fi stories. There's also different backgrounds for each playbook that really change the flavor. The gifted is the one that's the most extreme. So when you're the gifted, you can choose to be the hunted, the professional, or the untrained talent. So the hunted would be something like River from Firefly, where you can be super weird. One of the moves is I can kill you with my brain. Like you can be like, you can flavor your playbook to be that kind of extreme outlier in a crew. Or if you choose like the professional background, then you can be like Deanna Troi, where you have that, all of my people have this power. It's not a weird thing at all. It actually helps me in my career. I use it in service of the crew and things like that. Or you can be the untrained talent. Like maybe and that's a whole nother flavor that you can go with, where maybe you're not hunted, but maybe you're out seeking someone who can teach you how to use your gifts and things like that. So in one playbook, you have 3 very distinct and different paths that you can follow. And with that, you can then even customize it further with the choice of specialties or skills that you use. So the playbooks are made to be incredibly adaptable so that you can use them in any of the settings. So yeah, there's lots of different touchstones. Some of the playbooks that are not here at the table tonight, we've got the Explorer, who is, they have an unquenchable need for discovery and something that drives them, a specific cause. Maybe they're looking for a specific cure or something. Some of the touchstones for that playbook is Stephen Franklin from Babylon 5. Phlox from Star Trek Enterprise. Picard is this, especially once he starts getting into his archaeology phase, which they kind of like add in there. Captain Samantha Carter from Stargate, and Daniel Jackson from Stargate also. And the Greenhorn is another playbook. The Greenhorn is the newbie on the ship, the FNG. So some touchdowns for that playbook. They're like looking for a mentor. They're really like good at everything, but they are so naive. Ensign Kim is a great example of this from Voyager. Wesley Crusher is that as annoying as he can be.
Some say to this day, Ensign Kim is still waiting on a promotion.
Yes,
Yes.
probably.
Sweet boy.
Yeah. John Crichton in Farscape, when he first arrives on the ship,
Baby
he's
boy.
he's very capable, but he's like, oh, there are aliens in the world.
Oh.
Oh, I'm suddenly talking to them. I have no idea what's happening right now. So you can have a lot of knowledge as a greenhorn and not a lot of like street smarts, like knowing what's happening. And then like Edward from Cowboy Bebop. So Cowboy Bebop is another thing you can really play with this system. Hotshot, we talked about the unfamiliar. So those are most of them. Oh, and the warrior. So the warrior playbook. Many other beings may not understand the conflict that like rages within that character. They can be from a warrior culture, kind of like the Klingons. Like Worf is a good example of like the warrior. They can be someone who's actually chosen, like to be a military person. Like a lot of the characters on Star Trek Enterprise are actually military like career people, things like that. So that's kind of the flavors of that playbook. You can be like the culture that values war and knowledge and tactical knowledge, or you can have just chosen like, this is my career and I can do this. So yeah, so those are the many playbooks. Oh, and there's also the normal.
Oh, yeah.
The normal is just so normal.
It's a guy.
Yeah,
Just a guy.
Just some guy.
It's the guy.
Just a guy.
Yeah. So basically, it's like the O'Brien. So
Such a guy.
such a guy.
Just a guy.
Just a great guy. So they generally are a little bit of and a lot of people like really like playing characters like that, but you are like by design the kind of the supporting character. You know, you're the Sam to Frodo and things like that, and maybe you actually carry the whole success of the story, but you're not ever gonna be like in the spotlight all the time.
You're just a guy.
You're just a guy.
I love a guy.
Yeah, me too. It's good. So that's another one of the playbooks too. All right. Has everyone decided on a playbook, or who has decided on a playbook?
You decided?
Yes.
If nobody
2 out of
minds,
4. Okay.
I think I would like to take the hot shot.
Okay. Cool. Okay, 3 out of 4 now. For
Mhm.
everyone?
So you're
I'm
doing
set. I'm
you're
good.
doing the outsider?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the civilian. Did you pass that down?
I did.
I have
Okay.
it. I have it.
Did you want to look at what's the one you didn't take?
Oh,
The gifted?
it's fine. I don't
okay.
need that one.
Will
Thank
you hand me that one then?
Yeah.
I'm between the rebel and the civilian.
Okay.
I think
We can wait for a few.
I think my question is more like overall like character build vibes, just
Mhm.
to like if someone's more like combat minded to like maybe go the opposite direction or vice versa.
Mhm.
Just to have someone who I have the option of someone who has no thought in combat and someone who has done a lot of that.
Yes.
Mm.
That's kind of where I'm at
I'm
with the
not
specialties.
very gonna be combat.
Your spy guy?
Well, no.
Yeah. But that
No.
side of the outsider.
Well, like the outsider in general isn't real combat-y.
Yeah, that's true.
Like no matter which way I end up going. But yeah.
Now remember, you can choose specialties too. So even if a playbook isn't super fighty, if you take like the guns and weapon, and or the melee weapons or something like that, you can start getting +1s pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
basically how the specialties work. They give a +1 to any roll you can convince me that you can use them on.
Yeah, and the hot shot is more about
Being cool.
being cool and influencing people.
Yeah. It does it.
Or influencing creatures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
There are some
situation.
fighty capabilities.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like ship combat is like a strength. But you can most playbooks can be at least proficient at combat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that kind of game. It's more to
Yeah.
say, like, flavor-wise.
Yes. Yeah.
If we've got a ship full of Inaras,
Yes.
do we
Yeah.
need a Zoe?
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
question.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm leaning towards, so for the unfamiliar, the backgrounds are artificial life form, first contact species, or unknown origin. I'm kind of leaning towards unknown origin. It does have some hand-to-hand combat
Sure.
abilities. For that one, the way the questions are written, it makes it feel a little bit like you as a character don't know where you come from.
Mhm.
Is it meant to be played that way, or is it like...
That's one of the options.
Okay.
So the idea is unknown origins. You're kind of like Odo from DS9,
Uh-huh.
where like I'm a shapeshifter. I don't know if there's any other shapeshifters in the world. Maybe there is. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the inspiration for that.
Okay.
If you want it to be like you do know,
Mhm.
we can like make that work though.
Okay, I was kind of leaning towards that, but like, I do know, but maybe I'm from a species that nobody else has encountered before.
Okay, that might work better for. I mean, and again, these are kind of like flavors that might
Yeah.
work for first contact species. Because as a first contact species, you don't necessarily have to be honest about everything.
Mm.
That's
You
fine.
can totally lie and be like, I have no idea how I got here. Wow. Gee, I'm sorry. What's your military tech like? Oh, okay. I don't know. So, but you can
Okay.
play that however you like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the playbooks right now, they look sort of like this. They've got a picture on them. The first box up at the top, it says like the playbook and it has like a little one sentence. Well, why don't we go around? We'll do Kai last
Thanks.
since they're still deciding. Everyone else can read the name of their playbook and then just the little tagline right underneath it as we go around. And then we'll start filling in boxes and making choices. Let's start with Samantha this time since I called on Dave last time.
So I'm playing the Unfamiliar, and the tagline is, "You have a mysterious past and find your crewmates puzzling."
Interesting. All right, Jay.
I am playing the hot shot. You are the best and everybody knows it. They would never get rid of you. You're just too good.
Nice.
And I've gone with the outsider. You are treated with suspicion by the public and maybe even by some of your crewmates.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
I think to go against type,
Mhm.
I'm going to play the civilian.
Ooh, okay.
I've done a lot of rebellious characters that have had causes.
Okay. All right. So will you read the name of your playbook and the little tagline?
The civilian. You don't seem to like you don't seem like the type to brave the dangers of space, but you've got something to gain in this journey.
All right. So the first thing you need to do is there's that box at the top. It says character. You need to fill in your name, your pronouns, your age, your species, and then your look and demeanor. At the bottom of the box, there are some helpful adjectives and descriptions, but you don't have to feel like you need to use any of those. They're just to jog some creativity. So there's, reading off this one, there's Feminine, masculine, androgynous, ambiguous, changing, skin, hair, scales, fur, feathers, exoskeleton. So those are more like the physical descriptors. Ethereal, naive, eccentric, reliable, unnerving, charming, flowing, official, flattering, traditional, and ragged. So those can describe outfits, that can describe exoskeletons, they can describe whatever. And each playbook has kind of their own. These are the ones for the gifted, since this is one of the rejected playbooks for this game.
Not rejected.
Not rejected. That's
We
okay.
love it, but
I mean, there's 10 playbooks. There's gonna
Yeah.
be. We can't play all 10 playbooks with 4 people.
Well,
I mean, okay, that's not a
we
challenge.
could, but
like-
that's messy.
I was
yeah,
saying
that's
we
very.
could.
That would
Don't
not.
tempt me.
Yeah, that would not be a good play test.
No.
And then under that, there's a box called History. Please name your homeworld. Each playbook has their own little like set of suggestions. You can absolutely come up with your own, but I hate coming up with names. So each playbook has their own little set of unique homeworld possible names. And then a notable feature of the homeworld. There's 2 suggestions there. You can pick one or create your own. That's why there's an empty box. And then I specifically want the impact that feature of your homeworld had on you. Like maybe you made a living when you know, or maybe your family like has a tradition of working in a certain place or serving in a certain temple or whatever it is. Or maybe eventually the giant volcano erupted and destroyed your planet, so nobody lives there anymore. So you all moved to a moon or whatever it is. So what was the direct impact that feature on your homeworld had on you? So just for example, for this playbook, the homeworld names, Madrabrilla. I should not have made this choice to share this. Okay. Zutir, Nuilla, Endion Prime, or Drigella 4 are the names suggested for the gifted playbook. And then notable features. One is an ocean that swirls of colors due to the organisms that live in it. And then a continent where nobody goes due to a terrible event. So those are the 2 choices on this particular playbook. And really, I'm just reading this out to like fill the quiet while we're making decisions. So don't feel like you need to listen to me, players. This is for all of you at home who we appreciate. And then there is the empty space. So if you don't like either of the features suggested, you can absolutely, as always, create your own. I know you at home can't feel it, but there's like this great thinking energy happening right now in the room.
So
Like
much thinking.
so much focus, like
Steam
creativity.
coming out of my
Yeah. Pretty amazing. So, and then the next piece underneath that, I know you're all not there yet, is the background choices. So very much inspired by Wanderhome. If you've ever played that, Wanderhome has these amazing questions that make up a huge portion of the game, where you decide things about your character. Like one of them that I half remember is one of them carries a weapon, and it's like, you know, what would make you draw your weapon, and you know, why could you, you know, and then like the consequences of that on your character. So each background is how like in PBTA you have your stat array. A lot of times it's like add 1 to any stat. You don't get to do that in Starscape. Whichever background you pick gives you the bonus to your stat. So for example, in this one, the hunted gives you +1 to body. The professional gives you +1 to brains, and then the untrained talent gives you +1 to savvy. And then each one has a question underneath it, and you get to like pick 2, or you know, pick one that you want and one thing you'd never want, what one thing haunts you, things like that. So we are going to share those after you choose your backgrounds as well. And yeah, I'm kind of proud of those questions. So for example, the hunted background, it says choose 2 that you're afraid of and 1 that you want to find. And then the options are the organization who created you, a high-priced bounty hunter, your family, the legal authorities, someone you used your gift on, and others like you. So 2 that you're afraid of, and then 1 that you'd want to find. And that's for the hunted background on the gifted character. So, yeah, it's just like to flavor the character, the background, give the GM things to play with, but giving like a little bit of guidance on different things too. So it's much easier on a pick list to get an idea and then kind of tweak it to make it your own. Because it's like maybe I want to find a high-priced bounty hunter. Maybe that's not one of the things I'm afraid of. Maybe I'm hoping to find a high-priced bounty hunter that I could then hire to help me find a certain person, like the person who hired me or something, or who created me or something like that. So there's lots of different options. So it just is a way of, again, customizing the character even more with a small little box on the play sheet. All right. I'm just going to give them thinking time now. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to stop just talking.
Naming things is hard.
Yeah,
Naming
I'm
is
like
hard.
deep in the sauce. I'm
Yeah.
looking at like names in different languages right now.
Same.
Amazing. I love it. The full art, most of the art for the game is done. If you look at our intro screen, that's actually a modified version of the cover for the game, with the crew looking out the window at the sunrise. I guess it's a sunrise in space. Yes, it's still a sunrise. The star rise.
Yeah, if you're behind the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah. And then each playbook has their own beautiful custom art. The gifted one is really one of my favorites. It's like a blue, like female looking, but she's inspired by a man of war jellyfish. She's got like the cool like crest thing and a bunch of tentacles hanging down, but she's wearing a very Star Trek inspired dress, like OG Star Trek, and then with like the knee high like go-go boots because it was the 60s. So there's lots of flavors.
Listen, if I'm going into space, high boots seem like a good idea.
Honestly.
You never know. You're
Especially
gonna
with
have
the
to walk
Western
through
mud.
something.
100%.
Yeah,
I did
Or
have
far
them
worse than
specifically
mud.
not put heels on it. I was like,
You-
no.
yeah,
heels.
yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. All right.
All right. All right. You want to share what you've got so far?
I think I'm done.
Okay. Good.
Uh,
Share your character, your history, and then your background question, and then what you chose.
So my character's name is going to be Lawrence Benson. It's a very nondescript name.
Yeah.
Seems honest.
That's the name.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, like I have my own name in my own language, but most humans can't speak it. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier that way. He, him pronouns. Kind of grayish skin, slightly larger than normal eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite all the way to like Alita Battle Angel giant eyes, but like just a little bit bigger than the average human.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a violet color.
Okay.
Not like iridescent, but just that shade. Lavender, I guess, would be a better descriptor.
Mm-hmm.
Species, I'm going with Phogenians.
Okay.
The homeworld, Phogenus, is like a massive cityscape.
Okay.
A la Coruscant from
Mhm.
Star Wars or
Mhm.
something where it's mostly just urban. Not necessarily as tall, but it's mostly urbanized.
Okay.
Very dependent on the fact that they are a multi-planet species.
Okay.
So most things are imported, and there are sometimes shortages and that kind of stuff. So life is kind of rough back home, which impact on me, it's about how to survive with hostile people around all the time.
Okay.
I went with the exiled enemy
Okay.
background. The 2 things that everybody knows. My people are very strict and harsh, known for harsh punishments on people that fall short. and that we win a lot of wars because it's just relentless. It's more like landing ships, disgorging troops, and then more landing ships and more landing
Ooh,
ships.
okay.
Okay.
It's we defeat with population more than tactic.
The Zap Brannigan school of the military. It's like wave after wave of your own men at them.
Right, kind of. But that's sort of because there's so many.
Mhm.
Like with such a massive home planet, they can just conscript people and send them off to fight endlessly. I think, should I share the thing that most people don't know also?
Yeah, I trust everyone. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not a question. Yeah, but
Yeah.
the thing that most people don't know is that captives are treated horrifically. Yeah, just a bad time.
Mhm.
Uh,
Now, do people not know that because people aren't released?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I maybe leaning into like more food.
Okay.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
we consume.
Mhm.
Like that's the way we spread out among the stars,
Got it.
kind of a thing.
Yep.
And when a planet can't sustain any more people, we go get a new one. That
Okay.
kind of.
Great. Okay.
Backstory. You want me to read the whole?
Let's hold off on that for just a
Okay.
second. If someone else is ready to share just
Sure.
the top part that they did, or is everyone still working?
Getting
Still working.
there.
Yeah.
I can go ahead and share. mine.
Okay.
So again, I'm playing the hotshot, and my hotshot is named Jonas P. Hurley. Pronouns he, him. He is age 36, and I actually went with human for this one.
Okay.
I'm kind of going to lean into the really stereotypical hotshot.
Okay.
See where we can take that with this crew.
Yeah.
So being a very stereotypical hotshot, pronouns he, him, he is masculine, olive-skinned, rugged. He's got kind of burn scars all over his arms that you can see, and other
Okay.
parts of him that you can't see.
Mhm.
He's always clinging to his ace pilot like persona.
Mhm.
So he always wears his uniform, his old uniform.
Oh, okay.
But because he's been wearing it for so long and through so much, it is ragged as heck.
Okay.
But he doesn't let that bother him. They're battle scars just like the ones on my arms. And he always the one thing that he keeps pristine is his flight jacket. His flight jacket is a sort of link to his past as a fighting ace.
Mhm.
And when he's in action, he'll fold that up, tuck it away, put it in a nice little metal box under the seat of whatever he happens to be flying.
Mhm.
But when it's time to make an appearance, on it goes. He comes from a planet called New Aguinaldo, and it is actually the remains of an old planet, much like, what was yours again?
Phogenus.
Phogenus, yeah. So it was a more or less a full city world, but something happened to it, and half of it just got blasted off.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
But the remaining population wants to continue to try to rebuild it and cling it, even though so much of it is inhabitable or uninhabitable. They've set up as many communities as they can. There are portions of it that were more or less salvageable or remained a little more safe than the rest of the planet that got blown off. And so this planet, this half a planet with pockets of cities on the outside, it's got a ring of like other developments and dwellings kind of built around it that kind of just orbit it in a couple of different orbits, different axes. But the population of Aguinaldo, they were not quite one of the original colonies that were sent out from like our homeworld, but pretty close to it. And so they see themselves as stewards of older civilization, and they're trying to cling to whatever they can remaining there. Anything that like any remains of their kind of society that got blown out into the galaxy.
Okay.
And because of that, the folks who live there we all surround ourselves with like relics from the past. So I'm always looking for things that kind of connect me to old cultures and past cultures.
Nice.
I chose the famous ace background. And it says here, choose 2 things you want everyone to know. Should we go over?
Yeah.
And one thing that you never speak of. And the 2 things that I want everyone to know is how I survived a famous battle, and why I developed a specific flying move. The thing I don't ever talk about is the name of my first ship.
Nice. And actually, I'm going to go back and change my mind. I do want you to share the backstory piece. So I'm going to have you do yours first since you just went, Jay, and then I'm going
Okay,
to go
sure.
back and have Dave do yours.
Sure. Let's see. Actually, I haven't written
you haven't
anything,
done
but
yet?
I'm
Okay.
working on it.
Okay, that's good. We've
Okay,
done a
good.
lot so far.
Okay, cool.
Dave, why don't you share yours first?
Okay. I think.
What's the question first?
Yeah, let me read the question. Exactly. You double crossed the wrong person, and now you have to sleep with one eye open. Who is it, and what do they want with you?
Mhm.
I went with like a group,
Okay.
more than just a single person.
Yeah, that's fine.
The Secretariat Order of Foginus.
Okay.
They want me to come back. Like leaving is not something that happens. It, once you're in,
Mhm.
kind of thing. And they're sort of the, in Star Trek terms, the Tal Shiar of my people. Like
Yeah.
they're the government that runs the government.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows about the public figures, but everybody doesn't know about, oh, look, there's the people that, are actually in control. The Foginian deep state,
Yeah.
as it were,
Okay.
in today's terms.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I left because I wanted to see what other cultures were like
Mhm.
instead of just continuing on the way we have. Like maybe there's a better way. Maybe we could be more successful if we didn't just exploit things and move on.
Yeah. And because, and that's probably something that's not very common, right? Like there's probably not a lot of Phoginians.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody really wants to deal with them very much.
Yeah. So you just being off by yourself is weird.
Yeah. I think I'd like to add to physical description.
Yeah.
I have a second set of teeth,
Okay.
almost like a shark with the second row of teeth,
Uh-huh.
but like they're sort of retracted back up into the palate most of the time. But if I get angry or need to
That's
eat something, it's like
awesome.
a not fully like alien extendable
Nice.
second tongue jaw, but like just an extra set of murder teeth.
Yeah, that's amazing and terrible. So terrifying and terrible, like mix those two words together, but that's
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's right on the head.
Yeah. Terrible. Yes. All right.
The night is dark and terrible.
And terrible.
Careful.
And that's a thing. Right. I feel like that's one of the things that's carried over from old Earth. The words terrible and,
Oh, terrible.
terrible. Terrible is a thing.
Isn't that when you go and find a new planet you can live on?
Yeah. Probably. Nice.
Terrafullers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
terriblers. All right.
All right, I think I've got enough.
Okay, let's see. I want to do Jay's backstory if he's finished
Okay.
that.
You know what? I think I have enough of
Okay, you
an
can describe
idea.
it. Yeah.
So, okay.
What's the question?
The question for my backstory is, you are the best. At least you were the best. Something happened recently that has made you secretly doubt yourself. What was it? I think I'm going to go with flying to kind of scout ahead of the ship, whatever our ship ends up being. We needed to cross through an asteroid field of some sort. And I flew a little scout ship into that asteroid field, and there were things in there that laid undiscovered, creatures or some form of space life, organic or inorganic, that started jamming my sensors.
Mm.
And not only that, but they started causing mental interference as well. And I lost control of my senses for, I would lose control of my senses for seconds at a time. I kind of black out, wake up and see that I'm somewhere else near an asteroid I'd have to correct. And I just barely made it out alive. My ship kind of bumping from rock to rock until finally I just kind of made it out by the skin of my teeth. And I realized that sort of without those faculties and without the sensors of a ship, what am I really? Those are everything I've hung my hat on.
Ooh.
And if I get those taken away from me, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so, flew back to kind of took the long way around the asteroids, flew back to the ship and said, hey, I think we should find another way through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, great. Amazing. All right. Who's ready? Samantha, you said you were
I
ready?
can go.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got it's still coming together, but
Yeah.
I think I've got enough to go on.
Okay.
So my character's name is Nolvath. They use they them pronouns. They're from a species called the Nimilid, and their homeworld is called Zalara. It's an inhospitable climate that is deadly to most life forms.
Cool.
So no one but them lives there.
Okay.
And I ended up going with the unknown origin.
Mm-hmm.
So the two things that I do know about myself are what does your home planet look like? Nolvath is from a hive mind species, so but they are cut off from it.
Oh no!
They woke up in a pod, basically,
Mhm.
without anyone else around them. And they know that their species no longer can reproduce naturally, so they send emissaries out to get DNA from other species to bring back to the hive so they can evolve.
Oh.
So they know what their purpose is. They don't know how long they were in the pod, and they don't know if their species still exists.
Okay, that
So
hurts.
good. So good.
really
I
awesome.
love it. Okay.
Yeah, and so the one thing I don't know is, are you the only one of your kind?
Okay.
Mm.
That's so good. Okay.
And their appearance is androgynous and changing. They have this kind of like amphibian like textured skin that has kind of like a green base color, but it shifts kind of like iridescently
Mhm.
constantly. They have a long mane of like kelp-like hair and a tail.
Amazing.
There's a cool form thing that I'm gonna pick later. when we
Okay.
get to
Awesome.
that part.
Awesome. And backstory. I mean, you kind of explained it already.
Yeah, that's kind of as far as I got with the backstory.
Mhm.
Is that they know a lot about their history. They know a lot about the universe, but it's like static. It's
Yeah.
like the library is not updating because they're either too far away or their species is
It's
gone.
gone. Oh,
Wow.
so good. Okay.
Real quick, because I neglected to write it down when you two gave your names. Can
Oh yeah,
just
names would be
name
good.
character names again?
Oh yeah, Nolvath, Nolvath.
And what was your species again?
Nimilid. It's Nimilid.
I am Jonas P. Hurley. He, him, and I am vanilla human.
And they, them, androgynous?
Yeah.
Dave, what was yours again?
Lawrence Benson.
I love these names.
He, him.
Totally not suspicious.
Perfectly normal.
And what was spell? You're gonna need to spell the name of your species.
PHOGENIAN.
Nice. All right.
I'm ready.
Go for it, Kai.
Okay. I'm playing Road Deadliest.
Like RHODE?
Yes. He is 31. He is a Pyronin. I'm sorry, there's a lot of P's at this table. It happens.
It happens.
And Pyronins are like more human than not, but like think real dinosaurs.
Okay.
Think where like a cat boy is like more human than cat, but has like cat ears. It's like that, but with dinosaurs, specifically like the feathered dinosaurs. So like
Oh, okay.
scales, like hair. Specifically, Road is like tall, very like almost amphibian style features, very human looking. But then you get closer, it's like, oh, you have scales actually.
Mhm.
Oh, the ridges on your cheekbones turn into like quill pin feathers that go into like both human hair but also like feathers.
Neat. Okay.
And Road is the 17th child of a long line of Thaloans, and they, I think, were the original settlers of the planet no, that's Peronis.
Okay.
And He is he him, intense, flamboyant, and changeable.
Nice.
Love it.
And is the last child of a settling family, original settlers to the planet, and the planet is in hospitable conditions that are made bearable by advanced technology, and it's dotted with essentially like outpost towns that are framed around the families that started them. So we're literally talking like old West towns that had like one person that moved there, and then they were like, they basically became the mayor of the town just because they started the town. It's that, but all over a very large planet that I think has like toxic gas and like volcanic activity because it's actively like a newer planet. And so they were like, we're gonna land here and we're gonna live here long enough that the planet's gonna terraform itself. And they're like relatively long lived. But I think that Rhodes' parents left offspring age,
Oh.
which is why he's the last. And there are elements of his name that's like, you are the last one. It is very clear. It was clear from birth. He is the last of 17 children. His sibling that is like the oldest one is like over 100 years older than him. May as well be another parent kind of thing, or like ancestor practically. So from a very like unstructured family situation, but still has that like, we own this town, we run this town energy. And the impact on him from the inhospitable conditions is that you learn to do anything to survive. You get told, you know, put your air mask on. Anything happens, you put your air mask on. And as a slightly entitled young man, it was like, I don't care if there's only one mask, you're the one that puts it on. But he ran away from home.
Oh.
So I picked the entrepreneur background. The two things he would do for profit and one thing you would never do. Discover new resources or goods, would do, and rise in society. So like literally trying to network and find people who will help him out to bring back resources for something. And then the thing that he wouldn't do, because he did it once and will never do it again, take down the competition. And that goes into his backstory where because he was the last born, he was seen as kind of expendable. And his the like highest person in their family, so like the highest parent, was like, this town is getting in the way. I need someone to deal with it. And he dealt with it, and ran away after. Was just like, no, actually, I can't do this. And so is amassing resources to figure out something new to do with his life.
All right. So exciting. All right. All right. There's a ship customization box. We're going to skip that for now. There's a personal directive box. We're going to skip that for right now. And then connections we're going to do after we create our ship. So go ahead and flip to the back of your character sheet. There is a trust meter there. So you're going to start at trusted. This is going to change a lot, so please mark it in pencil right now. The final design will probably have some sort of like token system, but for now, there's a meter there. So you're all going to start at trusted. There are numbers there, but it's best to try and use the actual words. Your stats and conditions. So you have a starting stat array written next to the stat and conditions title. You can fill those in, but you also got a +1 depending on your background. So if you want to flip over, it tells you on the other side which one you got a +1 to. And the stats are body, which is anything kind of physical, brains, which is knowledge and intelligence, intellect, courage, like how you can face down problems, how you deal with issues. Heart is literally like emotional intelligence, empathy. And then savvy is street smarts and like getting around in the universe and knowing how things work. So brains is like intellectual knowledge. Savvy is knowing, where to go to get that thing at the best price or how to haggle, things of that nature. Underneath each one of your stats, there are 2 conditions. So there are 10 conditions total. They are different for each playbook. The design intent is that each of you has a stat that you are very good at and more likely. And underneath that are the conditions you are least likely to mark. Because what happens if both of the conditions are underneath a stat are marked, that stat drops to -1. It doesn't take -1. So if it's 2, it doesn't become 1. It goes to -1. So you have a stat that's -1 already. Underneath that are the conditions you're probably going to mark the most. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are kind of like freebies. Like you're going to mark those, and okay, I'm still a -1. Okay, it doesn't go down lower than -1, so it kind of stays the same. And then it kind of moves up from there with the things under your strongest stat being the things you are probably going to mark last as your character. So those are the things that are most core to who you are, personality-wise.
Yeah.
So yeah, update your stats by writing them in the circles, and then go ahead and mark 2 conditions to start. Just how do you feel right now? And you can switch these around before we start if you really want. And you will see that some playbooks have conditions that other ones don't. So some playbooks have jealous on them, but some playbooks probably aren't going to be jealous. Like that's just not a thing that they have. So the conditions are very unique to the playbook. There is some crossover, but they're not the same set of conditions, just in different orders. And from your background, there's a list of each of the backgrounds on the back too, and you have specialties listed under those. So those are basically skills. So you can only choose ones off your background list for right now. Eventually, through advances, you can choose off of other background lists. So you have one that's in bold that you already have. Please choose 2 more in addition to that. I will just read off the specialties while you're doing this. Now, one of them says alien technology. This means alien, like as in the like different, not alien like aliens from outer space, because you're all aliens from outer space. This means like mysterious technology from like little known or no longer existing worlds. So the tech from Earth we were talking about, that would count as alien technology. This is unknown things. People have suggested I rename it to unknown technology. I probably should do that. I didn't do it before this. Sorry. Alien cultures. This is actually currently known alien civilizations, knowing how to say hello politely, how to pour tea or whatever, 4 different things. Ancient studies, so philosophies, anthropology, archaeology, are all in ancient studies. Biology is the study of living things. Botany, biochemistry, xenobiology, all these things count there. Command is like knowing how to lead large numbers of people. Criminality, committing crimes, obviously.
What?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Ah.
Also, like contacts in the outlaw community, things like that. Diplomacy, facilitating diplomatic relations. Some of them are very obvious. I'm sorry. Engineering, designing, building, understanding technology, and design. Explosive is blowing things up. It's literally what I wrote. Guns and laser weapons. That's handheld or ranged weaponry at the appropriate tech level. Hand-to-hand combat, obvious. Intergalactic politics, interstellar commerce, linguistics, universal language instructions, morphology, syntax, phonetics, semantics, things like that. Medicine, healing biological life forms. Navigation, operations is like literally the operating systems of the ship. So knowing how can we get the computer to do this specific thing? Physical sciences, psychology, piloting, it's probably important to you, Hotshot. Quantum mathematics, that's just really fancy, super hard math stuff. It says calculating travel or communication through dimensions, singularities, or jumps. I know there's actual things for that, but this is what I'm using it for. Security, keeping people, items, and information safe or secret. Subterfuge, tactics. There's space combat, and then there's ground combat. So there's 2 different types of tactics available in the game. And basically, whichever ones you pick, if you can convince me realistically I'm pretty forgiving, but if you can convince me that you're using one of your specialties for a move, you get to add +1 to that move. And it does stack with other stuff. But that's also why in the design, the highest you can get on any stat is +2. So you can't go to +3 for a stat, even through advancements. So it maxes out at 2. So it's kind of following the trope of a lot of science fiction where, biological bodies are able to do things within a similar range of one another, and then it's technology or knowledge that gets you past that point. And yeah. Any questions? The conditions are pretty self-explanatory. Depressed, angry, frustrated, reckless, afraid, guilty, hopeless, selfish, uncertain, jealous. You don't really need, maybe you do, but they're pretty obvious what they are. Okay.
Just to buck the trend, I marked 2 that aren't my -1 stat.
I marked 1 that wasn't my -1.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I've had playtesters start crashed. So if you wanted to mark both conditions under 1 stat, you can start the game that way.
Spicy choices.
Very spicy choices. Now, those are one-shots, so they're driving like they stole it. So
yeah.
it's a little different. But
So what if your -1 stat becomes crashed?
it stays -1.
It stays negative.
It's kind of a
Okay.
freebie. It's like
Okay.
you're already terrible at those things. And that's sort of the kind of message or like the design intent there is like there are some things that are just a part of all of us.
Yeah.
Like some people are more likely to be jealous or look more likely to get frustrated or angry really easily. So those are the things that are kind of just part of your character's like natural state often.
Mhm.
So those are things that don't really affect how they perform things because it's already something that they're kind of used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I did end up marking both of the ones under my -1 because it's uncertain and isolated, which makes the most sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why they're the things under your lowest stat that you're most likely to mark. Absolutely. Awesome. So once you get done with all of that, you have a specific set of moves for each playbook. And you have a stellar move. That's like a once a campaign move. It's like your ultimate move. It's like the thing, like if it was a TV show, this would be like the sweeps week thing where you did like the big massive thing. You basically, if you use your stellar move, take narrative control and explain, I absolutely succeed. This is how I control the universe for a minute or whatever it is. And then you move on. But you also have a menu of more basic moves, and you can start by choosing 3 of those.
How fighty is everybody else's characters? Just out of curiosity.
I'm relatively fighty. I chose hand-to-hand combat
Okay.
along with piloting and tactics.
I have none available to me.
I have some available to me. I'm debating whether to choose it or not.
I'm more of I know how to walk around behind someone and stab them in the lung.
Okay.
That's very specific.
You didn't need those kidneys, right?
There you go.
Wow, primitive kidneys.
Oh my
You all
god.
died of ours a long time ago.
Amazing.
What an obvious weak spot.
Incredible. So one of my moves, Kimmy, that I think I'm gonna take, you and I get to decide its limits and a drawback because it's called Alien Form.
Okay.
You are not like the other beings on the ship. Choose one unique physical ability, and then with the GM, choose its limits and a drawback.
Okay.
Cool.
So I would like camouflage,
Okay.
Hmm.
Nice.
like a squid.
Okay.
Oh.
I like that. Perfect. So like the limits will be like you can't change your actual form. Like
Yeah.
your size or shape stays exactly the same.
Okay.
You can't like flatten yourself, I don't think. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did you want that?
No, I was thinking more like surface
Texture and
color,
color, yeah.
kind of like the Predator.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
fucking
Mhm.
Perfect.
invisible.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
that.
Yeah, no, that's
It's not
absolutely
gonna be weird for you guys at all.
it'll be great. but like organic, right?
But like
So
organic,
it's like when
yeah.
an octopus like suddenly changes the texture of their skin to
I
match a
love
rock
it.
and the color.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. But you still like if you look like metal, like you still feel like yourself. If someone were to
Yeah.
reach out and touch you, then you still
Squishy.
feel
Still
squishy.
squishy. Okay.
Yeah. And then you keep your size and shape and
Okay.
mass and stuff.
And then drawback.
I mean, that can be a couple different things. It could be
One I was thinking was that like maybe it happens unintentionally if I get really like upset or like feel an intense emotion. Like maybe it's just camouflage
No,
reflex,
we can't
like
find you.
Or,
accidentally.
or like, are you just a walking mood ring? Like,
Mm.
Oh,
your
like it's
emotions-
always a
Oh.
tell.
yeah, like you're real bad at poker. Just a thought.
Especially in a
right?
hive mind culture, like
Yeah, that's
would you
true.
ever?
That's
Yeah, would you ever
cool.
have learned a lot? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, maybe since leaving, you've learned how to do that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with it being just a high stress reaction. Like, if you'd rather it be more normal, like all the time.
Yeah.
But maybe it gets a little harder to control. Like sometimes you like, you just do it, or maybe you it could also be like there's certain things that are harder to mimic. Like maybe like metal is something that's really hard for you to mimic.
Okay.
Or like I'm okay with you kind of making choices here.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out like ideas.
I do kind of like the social aspect of maybe like because their color like color is constantly changing anyway. Maybe there are tells of like what they're feeling, but like unless you spend a lot of time around them, you might not know what they are. But if you're
Sure.
like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
a ship together with them, you notice like, oh, they get pink every time they're mad or like whatever. So
like
you can
your skin gets bumpy when you're angry.
like yeah, you can eventually figure out how to read the mood ring, but like
Yeah.
maybe it's not obvious to everyone.
I forget what they're called. There's an alien race in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. It's a book that they communicate through colors on their face. Like
Oh, cool.
yeah. So like no one else knows what they're saying. If you spend a lot of time around them, you can start getting an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I got the colors familiar.
Yeah. But so maybe it's something along those lines.
There's a monster romance series where the monsters like their eye color changes based on their emotions.
Oh.
They have a base color, but like then you can tell if you know what it means, you can tell how exactly like what they're feeling. It's very
Nice.
cute.
I like that. And then if you're really stressed, then you start mimicking the textures too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
I like
good.
that.
Fun.
I mean, it's obviously like you can control it too. So if you were trying to be subservient, yeah.
Yeah.
But also like if someone really insults you, suddenly you like match the wall behind you, and you're just like,
Stripey.
Become the villain in Monsters Inc. for a second.
yeah,
Uh,
amazing.
It's
Okay, very
actually
good.
like a whole sub point in what is it, Children of Time?
Mm.
One of the Children of books, where like there's a uplifted octopi species that others encounter, and communicating is super hard because their communication is all like tentacle gestures and color
Yeah.
changes, no vocalizations,
Mm-hmm.
and like they were uplifted, but their tentacles are controlled by one brain, and their thought process is another brain entirely.
Ooh.
So like you're communicating with one half at a time, kind of.
Interesting.
Amazing.
Like it's
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions about any of the moves available on their sheet or limits or what things mean? Okay.
You just gave me a really dangerous one, that's all.
Yeah. Hopefully they're all good.
There's some
Hopefully-
really spicy possibilities here. It took me a long time to chew.
Wonderful. Considering there's only like 6 or 7 of them, if it takes you a long time to choose, that's great. That means they're good choices. Okay, cool. Underneath the moves for your playbook, there's a thing called Seeing Red. You get really upset when a crewmate, and then it has 3 bullet points that are different for each playbook, and then an empty playbook. So you can fill in that the empty bullet point. You can fill in that empty bullet point with something. You can do that right now, or you can wait a little while until we learn a little bit more about each other. The thing that happens with seeing red, it's basically like when you are just like it's a thing that just triggers you immediately. You're really upset, maybe, and I always use this example too. It's someone who chews out loud, like it just like doesn't shut their mouth, and it's just like that masticating sound. You're just like So it happens when any of the things on that list happen immediately. You can't wait till the end of the scene. You can't wait till something. You have to either do confront or connect, which are two of the basic moves we'll talk about in a few minutes. Or if you just internalize it and you suck it up, you're just like, you have to mark two conditions because of just like the mental stress of how frustrated and upset you are. Next to that is the experience box. Starscape is designed for longer form play than a lot of PBTA games, because a lot of PBTA games burn kind of fast and hot in a certain number of sessions. You've done most of the advances you're going to get. Starscape, you start out with 5 experience bubbles. And then as you get more advances, you start having to add a bubble to that experience bar. So as you get better at stuff, it takes you longer to ostensibly level up. Max, eventually you can get to 8 bubbles before you get to pick another advancement. And as you go, the advancements get more powerful. So it's worth waiting longer. So, and then next to that is your stellar move. All right. Any questions with any of that right now? Okay. Then we're going to build our ship, and then we'll go back and do connections. All right. Our 3 choices. Once again, a flavor of ship. Huge salvage transport ship of some kind. The light freighter or the living being. Does anyone have thoughts, questions?
I want to be stuck in a small tin can.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was interested in either the freighter or the living being.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Tight quarters, tight quarters, tight quarters.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I'm okay with anything. Really.
Uh-oh. That's the Dave sound, like there's one of those you don't like.
No.
Okay.
The one I really liked is the one that everybody else didn't.
Oh,
So,
you want to really
salvage
make
ship?
giant ship?
well, I just want like the rattling around in a weird. We haven't explored all the spaces.
That is
like,
fun.
Okay.
Good hit.
Interesting.
Good
Okay.
pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay. It's not like I'm super upset.
No.
I'm totally cool with any of the choices, really.
It's a
Ooh.
good pitch, though.
Combo the 2. Maybe we have the giant ship, but we've only been able to make part of it habitable.
I love this.
So we have the small quarters, but we have all like the weird
Like
unknown to
weird,
explore.
almost ghost
Yeah,
ship level,
yeah.
like weird stuff. That's cool.
I
Yeah.
like
I
that.
think that.
We carved
I
out
like that
part of
idea.
the event horizon to be safe.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
We're in that like the couple of very clean and nice and easy to spot the horrible alien rooms from
Yeah.
Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not the chains hanging everywhere and wet part.
Why is it
Random
dripping?
pieces of
What is it
machinery
dripping
just
with?
all around you. Yeah. Occasional jets of steam.
There's
Yeah.
not humidity in space. Where is this water coming from?
Something's gone horribly wrong.
So there's a couple different ideas we can go with for this. It's originally was like a colony ship or like a generation ship, a military ship, a cruise ship, like a luxury cruise liner, or maybe you've cobbled it together from many of the above. So maybe you don't know.
I'm digging the vibes of like, you don't know, or like a colony ship, something where we really like have no idea what's really going on in
Yeah.
the larger
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's got like habitable places that we found, and
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Maybe
Yeah.
like a little cache of supplies, of remaining supplies that we subsist off.
Maybe like it was the original colony ship that came to this planet in the before times.
Oh.
And it's just been in geosynchronous or not
Uh-huh,
geosynchronous
Geosynchronous.
way out.
Yeah, you're right.
And just hanging out there. We got out there, and most of it, like, it had like pods that detached and landed on the planet with supplies and settlers and all that stuff. But there's like a couple that didn't, like malfunctioned over the generations it took to get here or whatever. So those are the ones that we have access to,
Okay.
Like-
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
along with like a weird spine kind of a thing.
Ooh. I'm thinking like maybe we found the actual like navigation center, or like the people who actually flew this, piloted
Yeah.
this ship, and that's
Mhm.
where we are. But then there's like all of the living spaces and all of the other
Yeah.
stuff that was like the society preservation stuff and all of that
Mhm.
stuff that we were just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All
there's
right.
like hundreds of yards of like empty cryopods
terrifying.
Oh.
Sure,
that
yeah.
don't work
Okay,
anymore and
yeah.
aren't powered.
I'm gonna
right.
go for a
Maybe
walk.
some closed
Tug,
ones that,
tug,
Yeah,
you
a
know,
couple.
Oh,
there's a
God.
couple
Ah.
that are
closed that
not
we don't
open,
know.
yeah.
You know, we've never
Just
bothered.
fogged over.
Nothing's ever come out of them, so you know.
Oh, that's amazing and terrible. All right.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Definitely not haunted.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Someone's here now.
And I mean, going with the idea that I think you mentioned this earlier, Dave. Like some technology, some sense of technology was lost. Maybe we kind of just barely know how to make the parts that function.
Yeah, maybe a lot of the controls are like in a language we don't understand.
Yeah. Amazing. I love it.
What are we doing here?
All right.
So funny.
So,
Well,
you
that
get
maybe explains why we're all just randomly stuck here.
Yeah, I
Like,
think maybe
Yeah,
like there was
yeah.
a reason we came here, and maybe we don't know.
Ye-
Mhm. Yeah. All right. So, some of the benefits, you get to pick two. Leftover supplies. There's a robotic support staff. It's intimidating to foes. It's got luxury perks like pools or things like that. Obviously,
No,
maybe
swimming
not
in the
that.
pool.
The ability to grow and raise food in large quantities. This is for like maybe there's like fields where there's literally like stuff that's growing. And then we can also come up with our own if none of those speak to us.
I was kind of thinking the like grow food, like because if it was like used to house
Yeah.
generations of people, they
Mhm.
would have to grow and maintain food, and maybe like by the time we found it, that's like overgrown.
Oh, there's like a
Oh,
forest,
yeah,
There's like
yeah.
a forest inside of it.
hydroponics bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like these, like just animals. Like, what is that?
Yeah, like nature has retaken part of the
Ooh.
ship.
It's like, what? I don't know what that is. Okay, amazing. Very cool.
Space aggro cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay.
Well, can they be
Trees.
fuzzy like the Highland cows?
Yeah. Oh, the Highland food.
But adapted to low G.
Yeah.
Like,
So their fur is like
Yes. It looks like when
That's
a kid
awesome.
goes down like a slide and there's a bunch of
They all
stuff.
look-
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. I like this. Okay. Another benefit, maybe there's like the technology they have for some reason, like it doesn't ever need fuel. Like maybe there's just you don't know how it works.
Oh yeah.
But it hasn't run out of energy yet. It's still going. It goes everywhere and everything's fine so far.
I think that's funny.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
maybe it's not like the fastest kind of
Yeah.
thing around, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
You know?
We're on a aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll keep us alive until we get there.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
it'll- Yeah.
Sorry, it's not fun to fly.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay.
For the propulsion, like it obviously it has like okay, we're approaching a planet. We slow down. In between, does it have like an FTL, like faster than light travel? Do you have to use jump points? Like, what's the technology kind of norm for the sector?
I love a jump point.
Yeah, I like the
do like a
idea of
jump
jump
point.
points.
Okay.
And maybe again, same thing. Like we just kind of barely know how to work.
Yeah, this is getting again to that like
Whatever
Mass
jump
Effect. Like they don't
technology
really know
is.
how the relays work in Mass
Yeah,
Effect, but
yeah.
they still use them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
That's a problem.
I think the ship got here and jump gates were built after.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So now we can take it and do faster than light travel to
Yeah.
another area, but like
It's
the
designed
ship was
to go
not built
slow.
for- yeah.
We're a
Yeah.
sublight tanker.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, the original generation ships did not have fast.
Kind of like the Mormon ship from The Expanse.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That kind of a
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, very good. So your drawbacks, you don't get to pick. It's we're gonna say it has a bunch of mystery stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dangerous
Yeah.
mystery
love it.
stuff
Mhm.
is going to be the thing.
Potentially dangerous mystery stuff. Right?
Dangerous question mark
Right.
mystery stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Sounds profitable.
Yeah. And it draws a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as like it barely fits in the jump gates. Like there's probably
You
some
can
jump.
block out the sun
Yeah.
on some planet.
Yeah, if the planetoid is small enough. Yeah.
It's like it's wild. Yeah. So it's
Don't
what
mind
is
us.
that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's probably like none of these still operating.
Yeah.
This is not a thing
yeah.
you see. Yeah.
People are like, who the hell is this?
And it has like old Earth aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like the stuff that any of our races build to travel or any. It doesn't look like new human stuff
Mm-hmm.
that you pilot. Like it's this weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uses buttons and levers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like big 1960s chunky button.
Yeah, flashing light.
Yeah. The other thing is you're not really able to repair it well
That sounds
Right.
right.
because
Yeah,
it's
that's-
like the strange technology. So you can kind of jury rig things sometimes if you need to, but it's also like I don't even know what this says. Like I know when I hit it, like oh fresh air comes out. Okay, great.
Yeah.
But like you like actual repairs are really gonna be hard to come by. So
It was made in a different world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have like a lot of post-it notes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe some things
Don't
have like
touch this
icons or
one.
like
Yeah.
infographic
Yeah.
style
Mhm.
like things next to it. So we're like, there's a droplet of
Yeah.
water.
Every once in a while, we'll like scratch a big X on a metal
Mhm.
panel. Like,
Put
don't
a-
Yeah.
touch this.
Find a box, tape it over it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't push this button.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't-
exactly.
Road, do not touch this.
Yeah. I'm sure there's certain room like doors you just like don't ever go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone opened it once and then went, nope, no thank you.
Shut it.
Don't open cows inside.
Utter madness.
Very nice.
And defenses. You get to pick one: armored hull, flares or decoys, or no defenses.
I feel like armored hull.
I like,
Yeah.
I like the ticking clock of an armored hull. Yeah.
Also, like, I feel, again, going to that, like, long-distance travel thing, like, traveling through asteroid belts, traveling
Yeah.
through, like,
It's gotta be
unknown regions.
sturdy.
It's gotta be pretty
Especially,
sturdy.
yeah, if it's like older tech, they haven't
Yeah.
developed any kind of
It's
you
the
know,
difference
shields
between a
or
muscle
anything like
car
that.
and
Yeah.
a modern car.
Yeah.
Or maybe
And
there
then-
are. You just haven't figured out. How to
Right.
unlock them.
Yeah. yeah. Sure. Mhm.
Well, and,
Modern
like
ships have
over
shields.
interstellar distances, even running into like hydrogen atoms causes damage if you're going fast enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. And weapons. Energy weapons, projectiles, ramming or collision elements, or no weapons.
I think I'd like it to have some sort of, at the very least,
Yeah.
again, if you want to blow up a meteor in your way and you need to like fragment it, like some
Maybe
sort of concussive weapon. Yeah.
projectiles,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or concussive weapon. Makes sense.
Well, like mass drivers
Yeah.
kind of a
Mhm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like slugs of inert metal, but accelerated to very fast speeds.
Rail gun.
Yeah.
Rail gun.
Okay.
Railgun, yeah.
But maybe with, again, not sure how to operate it, don't know how much of it there is.
You push the button, you hear a chunk. Zoom.
Yeah.
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 The lights dim for a second. and
Yeah.
then-
Yeah. Do we have another one of those? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. What
I
is
don't
it?
know where it loads from.
All right. And part of like advancements and stuff, you can the ship itself also has kind of an improvement track where you can learn things about it. You can invest time and energy into figuring and improving it as well. So it kind of levels up too if you want.
Sweet.
Okay. And so those are the big main decisions about the flavor of it. Now you need to decide. One, we need a name for your ship. We don't have to do that yet. Just start thinking because
Okay.
it's the hardest part.
Naming hard.
Uh-huh.
It literally says ship name, the hardest part
Yeah.
on the sheet.
You're right.
Naming hard,
Wow, the
naming by
game designer
committee.
is really smart.
Yeah, so good. And hates naming things. And it can be like maybe the ship has a name and you've given it another name. Like it doesn't have to be like the official name. Crew size. Small, only the PCs. Medium, additional NPC crew, like 2 to 9. And those can also be like bots. It doesn't have to be like biological or sentient or sapient beings. Large, a full ship crew with like 10 to 20 NPCs, or huge, maybe there's 100 people.
Starfleet ship.
I think small would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like
Us
small.
maybe a complement of
Maybe depending on how we got here, like
yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 other people.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe.
And then maybe some automated
Yeah.
staff that came with the ship.
Droids that we don't really know how to interact with.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just keep they walk into you. They're like, "Meh."
That was one of the other choices, though, wasn't it?
oh yeah, robotic
Oh, that's
maintenance
We
staff.
skipped that one.
Yeah, robotic support staff. There are also some playbook moves. I don't know if anybody picked those. I'm okay with adding that. Yeah, that's true. I forgot. Yay, beta testing. I guess not beta testing, play testing, final testing, beta testing. I don't know. Almost ready. I'm okay with having like 2 like helper bots that maybe like that are just the basic maintenance of the ship. Like they can't support you. They're not going to like heal you.
Oh,
We
yeah,
don't even
yeah.
know where
that
they
stuff.
go.
Yeah, you don't even
They're
know.
not fully like they're not bipedal or anything like that. They actually like slide along the walls and have like a
No,
series of
right.
arms that kind of come out. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not
And so
really.
it's like limited mobility for them.
Yeah, so they're not really support staff, but they're probably the reason that this even like is still functioning. Like they are just like automated for some reason. These couple little like bots,
Ship Roombas.
yeah, basically shipping
Yeah.
goods, yeah, like continue to do their job, and that's why when you got here, it's like oh, it still works. It turned on.
Mhm.
Look at this, amazing.
Nobody
It's, like,
told the bots to
surprisingly
stop doing their
clean.
job.
I've had another one.
Yeah.
It was flipped over. I turned it back over. It's fine now.
Yeah.
I got stuck behind the door.
Yeah, but you have no say in what they do, or they like, and yeah,
Cool.
they're not helping you. They're not cooking dinner. They're not doing any of the helpful things for you. But they're keeping the ship moving.
Nice.
Cool. Okay. Since we are fortune wolves, we have no captain right now, unless eventually somebody wants to step up or we pull up an NPC of some type. There are 6 basic systems to the ship. There's communications, defense, life support, propulsion, navigation, and weapons. There's 6 of those because in PBTA you use a 6-sided dice. And if you ever get damaged by stuff, I get to roll dice. And then we'll see what damage it gets damaged. So to start, each thing has like 2 little damage bubbles, and then as you invest in your ship, as you can like improve it and get more bubbles, so you can take more damage or do better at stuff. Cool. Now we have to agree on the areas of the ship. Now we are not going to make an actual map of the ship. We don't need to do that. This is just agreeing on locations for scenes to happen. So we have a shared understanding of the ship. So one person's like, I'm going to the captain's quarters. And you're like, wait, we have captain's quarters? What? So we're just kind of agreeing on that. So airlocks and number of them. Like probably many.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put a little
many.
infinity symbol there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
many.
not all of them work.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably like one right there. Do you have like an official armory or a closet where you keep weapon stuff?
I probably keep anything I have in my footlocker.
Yeah, I probably keep mine on myself.
Okay.
Personal equipment.
So
more than-
personal, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a bridge or a cockpit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive
Bridge.
bridge.
Yeah.
For this one.
Big
Bridge.
boy bridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huge. Do you
Big.
have an actual brig or a place where you put people if you
The tubes.
dislike them?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Uh-oh.
We got all these empty cryopods.
We don't know if they
Sure.
work.
Right.
Get in there. Let's see.
Get in there.
Yeah.
We don't even know if this works.
Yeah. As long as we can shut it.
This
Can we
button's got a
open it
snowflake on
afterwards?
it. Boop.
I love this.
Okay, so
It's the
Cryo.
timeout pod.
yep. So we're gonna say, did you say cryopods or escape pods?
Cryopod.
Cryopods.
So a brig / cryopod.
It's nap time.
And if there was an
Cool
official,
indeed.
if there was an official brig in this thing,
We haven't
who
done it
knows?
yet.
We have-
We haven't
yeah,
done
yeah.
All right,
Put
we
a
did.
bar behind a door. That's how you look it.
Right.
All right, we've established that there are these big, what used to be like cargo holds / like agricultural
Yeah.
holds. But do you have like a smaller cargo hold or a hangar bay that you have access to and like more control of? Did you take?
I took a move called Your Baby, which
Okay.
means I have
Oh,
a small
yeah,
one-person craft capable of
So,
short-range travel.
I think
I
there's
would have taken
hangar
a
bay,
space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a little
exactly.
hangar
Yeah.
bay.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like an actual hangar bay. I
I
mean, I
feel
think
like
this
there
one would
has
be
to
big
be
enough that
one.
it would
Yeah.
have one. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll say that you have like a little shuttle that you can't go out in space with it, but you can like go from you because you obviously cannot
We
go in
can't
the
land this
atmosphere with
thing.
this.
No.
So
It's an
but you can,
away
like-
shuttle.
Yeah, like an
Yeah.
away shuttle,
A
and then
runabout.
you have the baby.
Yes.
So which is a one-person craft, but it is capable of like combat, which the shuttle is not.
I feel like I
Mhm,
maybe
okay.
used to have a ship and it's gone.
Yeah.
Something happened there.
Yeah.
Or maybe
And
the shuttle is the one that we came up on.
Yeah.
oh,
If we all
Yeah,
came here
it
together.
wasn't here
Yeah.
before.
If we all came here together,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, oh sure, yeah, I guess that's true. But
I like that idea though. Maybe one of you or all of you or whatever brought it. So it's like the one piece of tech you have full control over.
Oh, sure.
Like
yeah.
baby and the
It's not
shuttle
bad.
are like
yeah,
the two
yeah, yeah.
things.
We have like a real
Yeah.
normal contemporary shuttle.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then do you have like an actual cargo hold where you can put your own stuff that's not overtaken by nature
Sure,
slash.
it's not
Oh,
hard to
yeah,
find
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I think we've,
Okay.
yeah, at least
Maybe-
made
or at least
something.
There's
Cleared
a
one
series
out,
of
yeah.
rooms, yeah.
Okay, cool.
maybe it's like
Um,
not heated.
Oh yeah, like we haven't figured out how to
Oh,
make the
sure.
environmental stuff work
Like
in there.
we got air in there by opening the door
It
and
was
the
like-
system equalized, but like it's still frosty.
Big
Like
beautiful room, and it's like, oh, this one's mine. Oh, just kidding. It's so cold in here.
Yeah. Gotta be really careful about what we put in there.
yeah.
Mhm. I like that.
Never put chocolate in there.
Oh,
Crew quarters, officer quarters, passenger quarters.
crew quarters.
Yeah, I think so.
I think maybe the
passengers
crew
were
were the only
probably in
ones
the-
that were awake for
Yeah.
transit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the colonists, it wasn't like the whole ship was awake. It was like there was a small group of people that
Mm-hmm. Kept
Made
the
I'm
systems
starting
running.
to like
yeah.
form a thought of like maybe the ship was originally intended to land on a planet and like be the genesis of a like society. So it has like big gardens and things like that. But also the cryopods, and not a lot of living space actually on the ship because it's like everything you need technology wise. Like you can build giant farms on here once you land.
Sure,
and,
once
and
you've
have,
landed,
like,
it's basically like your the beginnings of
city
your city.
hall.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then people build homes around it. But the actual ship, as far as probably we know at least, it's like the people who piloted it, and that's it.
I like that.
Interesting. That's very cool.
Well, if it was like a generation ship, when one of the crew members dies, they woke up the next one in line.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like there was a supply of them in the
That's
cryopods.
what the cryopods are. Yeah, one of, at least the ones we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like those like toys that like fold up into like a truck and then you like unfold them and
Yeah,
set them in.
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And
yeah,
it's like
uh-huh.
literally made to like split in pieces and like fold out kind of like a flower.
Yeah.
And then like be different parts of a town or a city.
yeah.
Totally.
Okay, I love that. Cool. So you have crew quarters. So each of you have your own room, your own little space.
Mhm.
Very
Yes.
small
Yes.
space, or
Ye-
sort of big space.
I have just a small room. I don't need a whole lot of creature comforts.
Yeah. Are we talking like normal like bedroom size in a house? Are we talking about closets? Are we talking about like you're living in a like car size space?
I mean, personally, I think Jonas would go for like a New York style,
Uh-huh.
bachelor pad or one bedroom apartment where it's basically
Like a studio?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, a little smaller than a studio. It's on the smallish side for a studio, just enough room to put a single cot in there, foot
Okay.
locker, maybe whatever food processor replicator thing we have.
This is definitely like, oh, nice closet. Where's your room?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Any type of I feel like the conference room I'm gonna like mark off, like I'm sure there's a conference room somewhere, but you haven't been in. Engine room or engineering that you have access to at all? Do you know where those are or how to
Probably
do
have to know at least where a little bit of the maintenance stuff is.
I mean,
Yeah.
we probably like followed the robots and
Mhm.
explored
Yeah.
things that way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
oh, it's going somewhere. Let's see where that is.
Okay.
that had to be a hilarious walk.
Yeah, it's like like the new guy on a Star Destroyer. Like, I have to get to work, and it's how far?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Nice. Okay. And then do you have like a galley or a mess hall
Yeah.
or something
Oh,
that
yeah.
you
have to
Yeah, I
have
think
something
so.
like
that.
Yeah.
Which one? Like a galley's like small. Maybe you've like
I think it's more
Jury
like
rigged
like
it?
the alien meal
Yeah,
room.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
Where like, maybe 10 or 15 crew members could have been in here to
Mhm.
cook and eat and hang out.
Okay.
You know?
Yes.
Perfect.
Big round table for people to sit around.
Yeah, yeah. Not
Nice.
not
May-
like a cafeteria.
Maybe used to have more than one, but only has one now of the big
Yeah.
round table.
Right. Yeah.
And then infirmary.
I think that's probably an ad hoc situation
Okay.
again.
Yeah.
What if we had one of those infirmaries where it's like a tube and
Oh
it can
yeah.
do things, but you
Oh,
don't
God.
necessarily know or have control over what it does?
We don't know what this one is. It's like this is their medical bay, and we look at it and just go,
It looks
No.
like it's supposed to be able to fix something, but
Yeah.
I don't know
I don't
how.
feel if I'm hurt enough to try it. yet.
Yeah.
Well, especially those of you who are like other species, like
Right.
does it even have like like would it fix you? Would it make you terrible? Like would it rip you apart because it doesn't know what you are?
I
Like,
choose
Yeah.
to believe that Road is actually too tall for it,
okay.
and he won't lay down in something that is too short.
Mhm.
That's fair.
Anything else? So we've added the weird like agricultural overgrown wild spaces, the cryopod rooms, some of which are or do we want to undo that now that we have like the individual crew?
I don't
No, the
No,
cryopods are a different thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
yeah,
I think,
we don't live in there.
No.
It's creepy.
Or
in there.
or do any of you? live
I
in
think-
one of those?
I think Road found the
Hmm.
largest room that was not actively being used for something else and said, "This is my room."
Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. And okay. And then the ag like
And
hangers.
maybe even tried like 2 or 3 different rooms before they were like, "No, that wasn't the right one."
Yeah, yeah. Ceilings just aren't the right height. You
Yeah.
need a little more room. Yeah.
He's a bit of a princess. If you can't tell.
Cool. All right. And then yeah, there's a whole bunch of different options as you do investments and upgrades. Basically, it works very similar to the playbooks. You can do investments. If you do 5 investments, then you get to pick an upgrade off the list. And this one does not get longer like the playbooks ones do. And some of the upgrades you can do to the ship, you can add a new area to the ship. For you, it would probably be discovering a new or unlocking
Yeah.
a new area. Upgrading life support, which basically is like adding damage boxes so it doesn't break so easily, stuff like that. You can also add defense types, add weapons types, add new perks, things like that. Now, on your playbook, there's a thing called ship customization.
Yeah.
And you get to pick one of those things for your playbook that's like your special area of the ship. I mean, other people can go there too, but it's like something that you kind of customized or made your own.
I've already said mine.
Yeah,
Lavish accommodations.
Lavish accommodations. Very, very fancy. Okay.
Yeah.
You probably took the old captain's cabin then? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think eventually it was one of those like, this room's bigger and it's cold. This room's bigger and part of it's falling in. I'm going to go try this room that I thought was too small, but it's actually just right. It's probably just the captain's quarters.
Nice.
You've basically got your own little apartment,
Yeah.
full
Mhm.
scale apartment in there.
yeah, multiple room. Full
a
on
suite.
next generation senior officer
Yes.
living. Yeah, yeah.
With the wet bar.
Anyone else know what they want their
I'm
thing to
really
be?
torn. I was set, but then things have evolved.
I decided to add a locker room
Cool.
to the ship, and again, an ad hoc thing. I just found a space found a sort of decent room by the hangar where after I go on a flight or something like that, I can go and clean myself off, put away my flight suit, that kind of thing.
Cool. And that
Tell me
makes
there's
sense.
like
Yeah.
old Earth spacesuits hanging up that don't work
Oh,
anymore.
cool.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. Very
Oh,
questionable,
Sad,
you know.
though. You're like in there by yourself with all the old
Well,
space.
you don't get to go in there if you
Sad.
ever want to. You don't know where to find me after a flight. So sometimes before a flight. You know. I think I've just for fun. I've set it up with like a little shower stall too. I found out how to
yeah.
route water there,
Broken
and
pipe.
yeah, exactly. You know, just scrounged up for some tubing and created a makeshift spigot or faucet out or whatever. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. What are you torn between, Dave?
I'm torn between a vault where I keep my secret stuff
Mm-hmm.
and a secret communicator.
Ooh.
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 Those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty set on the vault originally, but I'm like,
Mhm.
it's a giant old thing. There's plenty of places I could hide shit.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I think I will go with the secret communication.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's cool.
And last but not least.
I think I'm gonna go with odd accommodations.
Okay.
Mhm.
See everyone's lack of surprise. It says a place where you plug in and or recharge. So I'm thinking in like one of the kind of overgrown foresty areas. Nolvath has dug out like kind of a series of burrows underneath of the trees.
Uh-huh.
Because they're on their planet, their species lives underground in tunnels.
Uh-huh.
Because the surface of the planet is dominated by megafauna that are carnivorous. That's why they
Nice.
have the camouflage, because if you go on the surface, you have to be able to be invisible to
Mhm.
survive. So they don't, they kind of like feel most at home, I guess,
Mhm.
like in a weird underground tunnel. So
Fantastic.
that's where they go hide if they're feeling stressed out.
Nice. Totally normal.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Where'd they go?
Where'd they go?
They're in the dirt?
I'm not going in there. You track them down.
No.
All right. And now, last but not least, what is the name of our ship?
Oh god.
Oh boy.
Do we know the original name?
Ooh, maybe the original name is like some of the letters have been rubbed off, so we don't have the whole name.
Feature style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
All right.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's just like a picture on it that like you can't read you don't know the like
Yeah.
lettering, but you're like that.
It looks like
Yeah.
when you're trying to read Cyrillic.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
what I was thinking.
Picture could be, I don't know, what would you put on a colony ship? I guess like
A lot of them end up sounding like Star Trek ship names in
Yeah.
my head.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a picture of like. Now is this like an old like a colony ship from like an old not Earth, right? Or from something else.
I don't know. I don't know if we necessarily
Question
know.
mark?
I don't
Okay.
know that we know,
question.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
maybe there's
the
yeah.
pods seem like they accommodate humanoidish
Mhm.
forms, or like person-sized forms. I
Human-sized,
shouldn't
yeah.
go. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say human. But
Yeah. Okay, so maybe there's like some weird animal on the side that or something that they've done that you have no idea what this animal is, and maybe it's I don't know.
What if it's like a old UN flag
Oh,
Okay.
on the side?
Mhm.
Like the name was there, but like something hit that part of the armor at some point and
Mhm.
scuffed it off.
Mhm.
But it's just got a symbology of a flag that's like
Okay. Not actually from that, but like something similar
something
to
like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting.
Maybe it's like the classic like show aliens how to find Earth pictograph of like here's our star and it's the third thing
Uh-huh.
and here's our little dot.
yeah.
Like it's that, but maybe it's not Earth, but
Mhm.
it's
Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Or it's a crest with like similar intention that maybe has like weird animals on it. But
Yeah.
we also are like, I don't know what this is.
Hmm.
The cows.
The cows. Not the cows.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I mean, yeah, maybe that's what's on the side of it to help communicate that it's like not an invading thing. Maybe they put a bunch of agricultural and like,
Oh yeah.
look, we're just
Oh.
settlers.
Hmm.
We're not armed. So it's like pictures of peaceful bovine and like, people smiling or whatever like their race used to be or whatever it is like
Yeah.
like peaceful things.
Crops.
Oh,
And livestock.
I love the idea that there's just a huge like
Mural.
idyllic farmland mural on the
Hmm.
side.
And then it actually makes sense then because the ship would then land and it would have this idyllic
Yeah.
Yeah.
mural to people
Mhm.
for people to love forever. very stressful.
Oh man, somehow we're getting like Fallout vibes.
Yep. You can over my brain.
Yeah, same, big same.
My brain is going to like something in the like New Dawn.
Yeah, Fields of Gold.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Golden Dawn.
Okay. That's, yeah, I like that. Something similar. I mean, that doesn't have to be what you call it, but maybe that's what its original name was. Like
Sure,
something,
yeah.
like ridiculously hopeful like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Now it's the rust bucket.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea. Maybe over the mural is like a rising yellow star,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
kind of like
Yeah.
shedding that early morning light on the fields.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And that's kind of the thing we gravitated towards.
Mhm.
Like, oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Mhm.
Must have been a yellow star system.
Amber Star.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
nice.
Oh, I
That's
like
got a
that.
nice ring
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
The Amber Star.
Yeah.
The ambers.
Ding.
Okay, all right.
Done.
We did it.
Very good. Do you call it the Amber Star all the time, or do you have short
Star. The
names? Amber.
Amber's.
We call it
okay,
Amber.
sorry.
Amber Star, yeah.
Amber's a different thing.
Yeah. Totally different.
I think generally.
Yeah.
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 It probably gets shorthanded. They're like, oh, back on the star.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
whatever. But
Nice. Okay, perfect. Great. Well, we have created our ship. We've created our characters. And now for the dramatic piece.
Now for the messy part.
Now for the messy, messy part. We love
Love the messy part.
the connections. So go back to your character sheets. Each of you have 3 connection questions. It's on the page 1 underneath your character picture. There is a blank for each one of the questions. You're going to put the name of another player character there. The best intent is if you can put a different character for each one. If you absolutely can't, or if one doesn't fit, we can massage it, change it slightly, or the idea is you are not new to knowing each other. You have known each other for a while. We're jumping in the middle of like you've been friends. This is not the pilot episode of our if this were a TV show. So let's go around and don't worry about the plus or minus trust right now.
Huh.
That's what you give to the person whose name you put in the blank. It's not what you take.
Okay.
The easiest way to do that is just at the end, so don't worry about it right now. So yeah, does anyone want to start? Just read your 3 questions off, and then if you have an idea, you can pitch it. If you can be like, I feel like I'm a really great match for that, or hey, I was thinking this. Are you okay with this? We just want to make sure that we have the consent of both people that are involved in the question before we move on. Let's pick someone besides Samantha or Dave. How about Jay? Do you want to go first?
Okay, sure. I'm gonna start with this question. You don't have a lot in common with blank, but you bonded during a dangerous endeavor. What did they do to earn your respect? And I think if you don't mind, Sam, I'll go with Nolvath.
Mhm.
And I think in the early days, or during our first meetings, I hadn't yet known that you kind of had the ability to do the active camouflage thing.
Mhm.
But we were going on an assignment of some sort, and we ran afoul of some I don't know, some opposition doing this thing, and we ended up being trapped somewhere. And the only way that we were able to get out was you kind of like pressing yourself in front of me trying to make myself as small as I can,
Yeah.
you pressing yourself in front of me and activating your
Hiding you.
camouflage
Yeah.
as we went from spot to spot, like just
Amazing.
barely getting away from these folks that wanted to just shoot our heads off.
Yes, that is absolutely 100% a Nolvath
Awesome,
thing. Yes,
thank
that's-
you. And you
I love
get
it.
+1 trust.
Yay.
Oh, I forgot. We're not worrying about that. I'm sorry.
I mean, you can say it out loud right now, but it's just easier if we do it at the
Sure,
end. That way you're
sure,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
moving your little
Yep.
thing up and down.
Yeah.
Good trick,
Yeah.
good trick.
Awesome. What's your one? Why don't we just do all yours, Jay?
Okay, sure. Let's see. Next question. You think blank is nearly as talented as you are, and could become even better with your guidance. Will you be their mentor or their rival?
Now, this is a great question because this points out that this is from your point of view.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So if you decide you're someone's mentor,
God.
they may
Yeah.
not agree or know that you feel
This
that
is
about
very
them.
funny.
Sure.
So this is in your head.
Okay. All right. let's see. I do want to try to build something with everybody. So we have Lawrence and Road.
If you don't feel that's a good fit too, we can just skip that question for now.
You know what? Let me skip to the next question. Real
Okay.
quick. You think blank doesn't buy your hotshot act? What truth do you fear they see?
Ooh.
That's a tough one too. I think for this one, I'm going to go with Road.
Mm-hmm.
And you're as a civilian. I think you don't necessarily place any value on whatever military rank
No.
I have or whatever I've accomplished.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. Like, what am I without this life that I've kind of lived for myself and this image that I made for myself?
He's also very dismissive, just like, that's nice sometimes.
Sure, yeah,
about-
yeah.
Yeah. Even if he is impressed, it's one of those like, oh, that was very cool, I guess.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
You know what? In that case, Dave, I think we'll go with you think Lawrence is nearly as talented as you are and could become even better with your guidance. I think I don't necessarily question where you came from or
Okay.
delve deep into your set of skills, but I've seen you do things, and
I think that makes entire amount of sense.
Mhm.
But which way do you want to go? That's
I think I think from what I've seen, you know what you're doing. You don't need a mentor.
okay.
So I will choose for the rival.
Wow.
Really cool.
Delicious.
Very good. All right. Next, who would like to read this?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll save the other two from being picked. You are pretty sure that you could buy Blank's loyalty in a pinch. Is that reassuring or disappointing? My inclination is, again, kind of going back to what you were just saying, Jay, that Rode doesn't think very highly of Jonas, but acknowledges that he's skilled.
Mhm.
It's just one of those like, well, I could pay him to do that for me, obviously. In a kind of like, in a way that I think he doesn't understand that he's extremely underestimating someone who's very skilled
Mhm.
because he's from a very like narrow place in the world.
Mhm.
And so to him, it's disappointing, but the reality is it's probably the thing that could probably save him if he actually went like, hey, you'll do this for me if I pay you, right?
Mhm. Sure. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Awesome.
You suspect that Blank has similar motivations to your own. Lawrence, I think this one's for you.
All right.
And I think some of it is like the growing up in a survival of the fittest culture, but in a
Sure.
real one, unlike Road from a social one.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah. And we're the urban living people.
Yeah.
Like, we grew up with lots of people around.
Yeah, there were other beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you thought Blank could help you with one of your endeavors, but you were mistaken. What didn't you understand? There's so many things you don't understand about them. So many things.
Mhm.
I think he has this like pretty aura, the joke about pretty people who like just live in a bubble. I think he has that really badly.
Mhm.
He thinks his life has been very put upon,
Oh, yeah.
but it hasn't been, except for like one very notable instance. So he's like, well, we're the same, even though you're from like an entirely other everything.
Yeah.
And I think that always surprises him. Just like, you
I
get
love
it, right?
They're just like, get what?
Amazing. Very good. All right.
I'll go.
Okay.
Blank seems more curious about you than anyone else. Is their interest genuine intellectual curiosity, or do you suspect that they have an ulterior motive? I don't know.
You can skip that one. Do the
Okay,
next
come
one if
back
you
to
want.
You are observing Blank to learn more about romantic interactions. I think that's got to be our pretty boy Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Definitely. The choices that blank makes seem illogical. You will need to continue to observe them to understand them better. I think I'm going to go with Lawrence for that one. I think you seem the most guarded of
Sure.
everybody, so I think they have a hard time understanding like what your motivations are.
Mm-hmm.
And then that means Jonas seems more curious about me than anyone else. I think, at least they think, his interest is genuine intellectual curiosity.
Okay.
So I feel like with our connection from your side,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
probably have a more positive
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Already ahead of next game when we get to start playing. If we could go over these once more
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
right before we start.
Absolutely.
Maybe
Just-
share them around a little bit in
Yeah, yeah.
general too. Yeah,
Mhm.
for notes purposes.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean that, but just to get it locked in my brain,
Mhm.
because I'm one of those people who, like, if I hear it once, cool, that was awesome. What was awesome?
Immediately
happened?
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I remember something was awesome. All right. Let's start with the first one. Blank learned a secret about me. Do I think that they will keep it to themselves, or will they share it with someone else?
Ooh.
I think road, maybe?
That makes sense.
Mhm.
I think maybe you're the only species that knows more about mine,
I think that makes sense.
right? Like
yeah.
maybe like humans have heard a little bit about
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, they're weird. And yeah, you don't want to go to their planets, kind of thing. But
Mhm.
like, I think you know your species is aware like, oh no, if they're coming, it's like locusts.
Yeah.
Like that's no, we have to be ready
We
for
have
that.
protocols.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Do I think they'll keep it to themselves? I don't really think so.
Mm.
No, I mean, yeah, I like. There's definitely that like they'll keep it to themselves until it's not a good idea to do that anymore. Like it's more profitable not
Yes.
to. Yeah, but
Self-interest goes a
I'll
long
say
way.
no. All right. Second one. I trusted blank once in a pinch, and they helped me out. I think that's got to be Jonas.
Mm.
Mhm.
Probably. I think maybe you took out one of the ships that was chasing me at one point.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, our introduction was a situation where like I was the Millennium Falcon I was Luke
Yeah.
And
Sure.
and you
Uh-huh.
swooped in like the Millennium Falcon and knocked Vader out of the way kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that'd be cool
Nice.
because I don't know crap about ships.
Sure. Yeah. No, that sounds great.
And that leaves, I think that Nolvath is ignorant of how things really work in the universe and needs a babysitter.
Oh no.
You would think that.
That's amazing. Okay.
By the way, I would like to point out that I absolutely love the outsider art.
Oh,
I don't
it's
think I've
real
ever looked
good.
at it before, but it's just this like creepy smoking
It's real good.
Lizard.
Yeah.
dragon lizard.
That is great.
All these are
In
fabulous.
a
Yeah.
trench
Yeah.
coat. He's
Yeah.
Like he is literally about to sell you some stolen watches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am exceptionally pleased. I got some amazing artists. The character art is by one artist who's done a lot of stuff for me, and then the like splash art in the book is by another artist, and they're both just amazing and so good. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I paid a lot of money for it.
Very good.
It is very good. Awesome. Okay. So the way we do trust, so everyone starts off in the very middle at 3 at trusted, right now on your playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with your character sheets, I'm just gonna say, like we're gonna go around the table. You're gonna give me a thumbs up if you gave trust to someone, and thumbs down if you took trust away. So on your character connections, it says +1 trust, minus trust, or you get to choose depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So make your choice. And I'm sorry, I don't have your character names memorized yet, and I've been too nervous to take notes. So I don't have notes yet. But
That's okay.
for our unfamiliar, thumbs up if you gave them trust, thumbs down if you took it away.
Oh no!
Oh no! Okay, so
Okay.
-1 trust.
-1.
So
Okay.
you're down 1.
I'm doubted.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
So
fair.
yes. All right. For our civilian, thumbs up if you gave trust, thumbs down if you took it away.
Yeah.
Oh, negative. Yeah, down 1.
Yep. Uh-huh.
All right. For our hot shot, thumbs up if you gave trust, thumbs down if you took it away. Oh,
Okay.
+1. Okay, so up 1. And then for our outsider.
And I'm ready.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
One up.
Oh! Okay.
I'm shocked.
Okay, surprising, but
This
okay.
is the highest I've ever started with trust on one of these games.
And Dave's played this a lot.
It's like
Like,
there have been times that I've started with like as low as you can be.
possibly
Like
start with, yeah.
That's
everybody is
hilarious.
clearly ready to just throw me out an
There's an
airlock.
airlock right here.
Amazing.
That's so funny.
All right, so this is your starting trust. To start with.
Okay.
Now the way trust works, let me hand out the basic moves. And to everyone watching at home, we are going slowly through this process to kind of show off the system. And I'm explaining everything in detail. Usually, if you're creating a campaign totally from scratch, it usually doesn't take quite this long. When I'm doing one-shots at cons, it usually takes like 60 to 90 minutes to do the character creation process. We're obviously doing like in-depth talking and a lot more just like creating from scratch and things like that. And obviously, if you're playing in an existing IP, it really speeds up the process because a lot of the world creations, universe creation, it's universe creation stuff that we did. You wouldn't have to necessarily go through if you're like, oh, we're playing, Babylon 5. We're gonna do this. A lot of it's already done for you. So basic moves are split into some different sections. You've got the crew moves up at the top. These can only be used with other PCs. They are connect, confront, trust me, and assist. These are the biggest things that you use trust for. So you have to wager trust to do most of these moves. So if you have no trust, you probably can't connect with anybody. You probably can't ask them to trust you. They're probably not going to let you try and assist them. So things like that. So basically you wager it. You say, hey, are you going to like wager 3 trust? It gives you an advantage when you're doing the move. Most of them don't even have rolls. It's literally like you give your best shot and then the other character decides, because some of them have that randomizer element, but also a lot of those relationship moves, sometimes it feels really weird. Like masks is a good example. If you're like, oh, you're going to comfort and support someone who's your best friend in the whole world. Oh, you rolled snake eyes. That doesn't make sense. Like I just said something that makes total sense that you would like that, but I guess I trip and hit you in the face and then we feel bad and then you're mad at me for messing up your makeup. Like there's fun elements of that, but I also like the option of not having that, and you get to then choose the perks and how much trust and stuff you are. Then there's the basic moves under that. Those are very similar to a lot of other PBTA stuff. Prove your worth is courage. That's when you take action in a high pressure situation. So if you're going to run and try and shut the airlock before, everyone gets sucked out, things like that. Access knowledge, use knowledge or logic to overcome obstacles, to examine something, to scan something, to access specialized information, to repair something or modify something. Read a being is when you read a being or social situation for information. And then manipulate a being is when you manipulate or trick an NPC to get what you want. And then force is necessary is when you actually are trying to inflict harm on an opponent. That's a really important thing right there. If you're running from somebody and you knock over some barrels to trip them up or slow them down, that's not a forces necessary roll. That's a prove your worth roll. If you like try and knock down a barrel so it lands on them and physically harms them, then that becomes a forces necessary roll. And yeah, so we'll mess with these. We'll get to know them a lot better as we go. On the back, there are 2 bonuses that you can have. One of them is my absolute favorite, Technobabble.
Oh,
It's so good.
I love it. So once a
Thank you
scene,
for that, by the way.
no, yeah, it's so good. Once a scene, you can describe an action using complicated technical vocabulary from one of your specialties and add +1 to your roll. This does stack with a specialty too. So if you, there is a helpful chart because I am terrible at coming up with Technobabble. So if you pick
hard.
one, it's so hard. Some people are so good at it. I'm not one of those people. So there's one. It's like, if I realign the primary grid, it could create a polarizing pulse. So you can pick one from each of the columns and it makes a thing. You can also technobabble about other things. So if you are technobabbling about the political structure of a planet or psychology or, you know, how to fly something, like I can't make charts for everything, but like that counts as technobabble. It doesn't just have to be stuff off this chart, and you don't even have to use the chart if you don't want to. If you can come up with it on your own, that's amazing. It's a superpower I do not have. So the chart is guidelines, not actual rules. It's just for help.
good tool.
Yeah, and then teamwork. Teamwork is when multiple crewmates agree on a plan after a successful trust me move. So basically, as you go, you get to, you know, you agree on a plan. Someone rolls the trust me, which is like, let's all do this thing. Trust me, I know how we can get out of this. You each get to roll your moves in whatever order you want and roll an extra dice, and whatever dice is left over goes into a pool. So if you were going to go first, Samantha, you would roll 3 dice.
Okay.
You'd pick the 2 that you wanted for your move. The 3rd dice would go into the pool. The next person would do the same thing. That dice would go into a pool. So the pool gets bigger as you go, but it's also the leftover dice. So you have to decide, okay, am I going to choose a 7 to 9 and give like a higher die to the pool for somebody else? Or am I going to keep like the 5 and the 6, have a like amazing success, and then leave the 1 and put the 1 in the pool?
Did I roll boxcars and a 1?
Exactly. But after that, anybody can, after they roll, if they roll terribly, they can swap out one of their die for one in the pool.
Oh, no.
Oh, nice.
So as you go. So, yeah. And then there's the ship moves. The way the ship moves works is you will all, it's very similar to Beam Saber, if anyone's played Beam Saber. Basically, you will decide as a group what you'd like to do. If you'd like to try diplomacy, if you'd like to maneuver, if you'd like to fight, if you'd like to repair, or if you'd like to trick. So basically, if you're facing another ship, and then you all roll the same stat to get that move. Anyone who fails, the number of fails equals, that's the number of ship damage you take, basically. So it's like a single roll thing where everybody rolls at the same time. That tells us, you know, the damage to the ship and also if you succeeded. The highest roll of the group counts as the roll for the group. So if someone rolls 12 and somebody rolls 2, you got a 12 as a success, but you took 1 damage. Basically is how that works. It's very quick, very narrative, fast combat. It sounds complicated. It's very not complicated once you start rolling, because I didn't want complicated ship combat. And it goes very fast. All right. So those are the basic moves that go with this. Yeah. Feel like we've done many of the things.
Yeah.
I did do a lot of the
Very
things.
exciting. Yeah. Now the one thing that we do need to kind of still come up with is how you all got together. So you were talking a little bit about like, okay, the generation ship had something to do with it, or
I've been having a funny idea
Okay.
ever since the ship was pitched, essentially, which is that like this would be worth a lot of money.
Mhm.
And so like for different reasons we ended up on this ship
Okay.
and I don't know, found a reason to act together and like, oh, this is working, maybe, I guess. Or like maybe some of us couldn't leave. It's like, hey, help.
Okay. All right, I like that. So it sounds like the 2 of you knew each other maybe prior to this. So our unfamiliar, our outsider and our hotshot, if you rescued him,
Sure.
then
yeah,
the two
yeah,
of you know
yeah.
each other. Maybe you've been maybe working together, or I don't know. Or maybe you were just looking for a place to unload him, or
Actually, that sounds like
Like,
a
you're a little weird. I'm gonna leave you on this
yeah,
generation
yeah.
ship.
Why do you keep on looking at me
Right.
like you want to eat something?
I'm hungry.
Ah!
I'm so hungry.
You know what? So okay, I have my baby.
mm-hmm.
It is called the Trinidad Freebooter.
Okay.
I call it Trini,
Oh.
lovingly.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a one-person craft. Can it have room for just like a really squished, passenger?
Narratively, for this one story, yes. But
Okay,
you
all right.
cannot
Like in emergencies, I cannot sustain a passenger,
No.
but like in a pinch, if I've got to.
For this story, were able to do so.
Okay, all right.
Or even when you rescued me by taking out the other ship, my ship was just like wrecked.
Mm.
Like, it still held air.
Oh,
Okay.
sure,
but
but you
like,
needed
it
a
was
tow.
inoperable. Yeah, it towed me
Oh.
along, so I was like in a little capsule. Like,
Okay,
Oh, in your little
I
capsule.
love this. Whoever happened to be on the Amber Star, that's what we landed on.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever happened, maybe that was the nearest thing around,
oh sure,
and I towed you
Oh.
there, anticipating like, okay, the ship's huge, it's got to have some sort of
I have
systems.
I
a
say,
idea.
Probably
yeah,
leave
yeah.
you there,
I have a funny idea. What was your funny
and then I saw
idea?
all of the old technology.
and
And
you're like, oh,
you
this
know,
is cool.
yeah, just sort of my planetary habit of connected to the past kind of just drew me to it,
That's
Nice.
cool.
and I just haven't left yet.
Okay.
So my dumb idea is that maybe Nolvath's pod fell into the same orbit around the planet, and the ship's like
I have a
sensors like drew it into the cargo.
Okay.
So they wake up in there and they don't know where they are. So I feel like they were there like on the ship by themselves for like a while with just the robots.
I have a really funny idea.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I love that.
I think Road came there to scavenge some of the old
Sure.
tech and just be like, okay, no one's touching this. It's got to be worth a lot of money.
Mhm.
And gets like fully jump scared
Yeah.
by Nolvath. And
You're
like,
like walking through, and there's this camouflage being that's just out
I
of your
feel
sight
like
following you.
this
around.
is Aliens. We're in Aliens
No,
now.
and like you came on the ship and like they followed you around camouflaged for like a while.
yeah.
A scream so loud you could hear it in space. happening.
You absolutely kept seeing like slight movement at the
Yeah.
back of your eye. And you're
Yeah.
like, what was
That's the
that?
worst? Oh my gosh.
And I
And
like,
they've never met a person because the
person.
robots ignore them.
yeah. I think that Road like got here under really horrible circumstances, like crashed on the ship. He's not a pilot. He's not very capable at most of this. He's just like, this looks like it's worth a lot of money.
Mhm.
I'm gonna come here and scavenge stuff, and gets fully jump scared. And is like here alone, doesn't really have a good way to get off the ship. It's just like, this is how I die. I die here.
Mhm.
But I think weirdly because of their like hive mind knowledge, they speak your language.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
Did that wall just talk to me?
Uh-oh.
It's just a voice, a disembodied voice talking to you for a little while. No. What if, we mentioned that we had a ship that we could use to go in atmosphere if we wanted to. What if that was your ship?
Yeah.
And it
Oh.
was like, something happened, it failed when you got there. And it was the two of you there for a little while.
And I'm looking for parts to fix
Yeah,
my ship too.
until
And I
we
also don't know
showed
how to
up.
do that.
Until we showed up and we were able to scavenge some parts off your ship. But by that time,
Yeah.
you kind of already knew you had a thing going here on the ship. Like a pretty good thing going here on the ship.
Good thing.
Sure, yeah.
Making the best of a bad situation.
Sure.
It's habitable and there's stuff on it you can maybe
Yeah.
sell later.
And like hoping
Yeah.
to maybe find parts to fix his ship, and then you show up, it's like, oh, you must be the ones that were sent to bring me back. Oh, thank.
And I was just like, yeah, hold on. Tell me about this place. There's got to be some great stuff in here.
Mhm. And maybe as the unfamiliar, since you've been there for so long, like maybe even like years, like you don't know, like time is weird.
yeah,
Time.
Yeah. Maybe like you kind of have the best understanding of how things work.
I think that's hilarious.
Like just like the tech of the ship.
Yeah,
So maybe.
That's super
well, and also
funny.
because they're from like a really inhospitable climate, like they're sort of resistant to like a lot of things that would damage other life forms. So they're not as like precious about like I wonder what this does. Psh, corrosive.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Like
if a
steam
gas,
comes out and they're like, huh,
Mhm.
smells weird.
the gas is near road, again, like gas mask on. It's like, no, absolutely not.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So this is how we got together. So you're kind of, sort of. I guess I'm sort of picturing it as like a luxury.
Oh yeah,
cruiser.
it was a very nice ship that I think he broke
Mhm.
upon landing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and it's probably something really simple, and like someone who actually knows things about ships could probably just walk up and be like, you just need to flip this.
Yeah.
But he thinks it's broken.
Mhm.
And then you show up, and he probably is like, yes, I own this whole place, and they're also here.
I state my claim.
Yeah. So maybe you were able to use parts from your wrecked ass ship.
Yeah.
To fix that, so that's the working shuttle.
Yeah.
You've still got baby, but it only fits you.
Mhm.
You have a rudimentary working knowledge of how this ship works that you've kind of shared some of it with them, what they're able to remember at least.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like so what have you been doing since then? So you've been together a while. You've been flying this ship around. What's the purpose of that? Or do you all have your own purposes? Because you figured out it goes through jump gates. Barely fits through jump gates.
I think I probably pushed for us to see if we could make that happen.
Mhm.
Like, people know I was here in this system,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I want to go.
Okay.
So this is a big ship. Does it move? Like,
Yeah.
can we make it go? Like, yeah.
Well, why don't I mean maybe we can weave that into something bigger because like you're basically wanted by your species
Mhm.
because you know all the secrets and you've left. You're a deserter.
Yeah.
So maybe they entered the system. You especially like you know this.
It's like, oh, we have to go.
We have to go right now.
Yeah.
We can. They are swarming here. They're gonna take over all this stuff.
And I keep my stuff here.
Yeah. this is our house. We need to go. Right
Yeah, I have to go.
So maybe that was the impetus
I-
for you to make that first kind of jump.
I love the idea of like whatever planet this was, probably fucked now.
Yeah.
Because they came here. Like, I feel like my species ships are more like like big cargo ships.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. 'cause
But
it's
like
just,
each cargo container can just
loads of people.
launch off and then land, and just the door falls open, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Tons
the
of
army of ants spills
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, they're just sending these giant things after
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I think like the jump gate opened, and it was just like a stream of like 4 or 5 of these big cargo
Mhm.
ships, and yeah,
Panic ensues.
yeah. I'm like, they're heading for the planet because they probably think we went to the planet. Now would be a good time to go.
Yeah, and it's like the slow conversation of, I wonder if this thing can move. I'm sure it can move. To like, oh, it needs to move right now.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay. So that's kind of been the impetus for your first leaving and why you're going from place to place now.
For me, they're going from place to place because they're trying to find their home. I
Mhm.
think they know it's not in the system that they woke up in because they know they were sent far. But they don't. I feel like they don't know exactly where it is.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I gotta look for it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, absolutely.
Not even sure if it's like within the I don't know, jurisdiction of a jump gate
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
anything. Like you don't know how it could be like light years away from the furthest jump gate out. You
Yeah.
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No idea.
Yeah. Is your family looking for you?
I think that he thinks that they don't care where he is because he has suited his purpose
Mhm.
for the family, even though that may or may not be true.
Mm-hmm.
But I think his motive is to find enough of his own money so that he can stop needing them. Because
Mhm.
at some point he's like, I took the wealthy move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting money from them still. They have some way, like it's probably not like they know exactly where he is, but like he has some contact with them enough that they're still sending him money. He's not dead.
Or you just took a debit card.
Yeah, I just took a debit card,
Yeah.
basically, and they're not really tracking it. They're so wealthy, it's
Yeah.
silly. And so he is trying to make his own money,
Okay.
which would then be like when we go to a new system, it's like, oh, there's a planet there. Do you think they'll buy some of this? Do you think they have anything interesting? So it's always the impetus of like, let's go meet people so that I can cut a deal,
Nice.
make some money, make some connections, have some like both the false safety of wealth, but also the real safety of like actually getting to meet people and creating infrastructure outside of his home world.
For the sake of unified purpose, since we chose Fortune's Fools, we
Yeah.
do need to have something that's kind of forcing us together. I'm going to pull from
Yeah.
Dave's backstory. We're going to say somehow they scan, like maybe when just
they know
before
all
you jumped through the gate, like they were on
Oh,
the
yeah.
planet, they scanned the ship, and they realized that the three of you were with them.
Well, and our ships probably have our names attached to them in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Your
Mine is certainly
transponders.
registered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and mine would have been as well. So like
Yeah.
they know exactly who was there.
Yeah. So, and they are, again, they're really worried about their secrets as a people. They don't want people to know their tactics, their all those things. So basically, you're all wanted by this terrible civilization
Cool.
of multi-teeth
Awesome.
beings. So you're kind of like jumping, like one jump ahead of them all the time right now.
Opening,
Yeah,
opening
yeah.
Babylon 5.
Kind of.
Or not Babylon, no, the other one. Battlestar
Battlestar
Galactica.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
like, yes.
The miniseries. Let's go.
Yes.
I think it probably is like they got to the planet. Like they came through the jump gate
Yeah.
right as we were getting here.
Yeah.
They got to the planet and like commenced boarding operations essentially.
Yeah.
And we figured out how to move this ship, and then they saw us leaving, but they couldn't
Yep.
recall
Yeah,
everybody fast
Pull
enough
up
to do
everybody,
anything.
yeah.
So they got to scan in. So
Yeah.
they got like rudimentary information. The only
Yeah.
thing they might not know about would be our unfamiliar.
Can I have the she has no file moment?
Yes.
Yes.
Like they have no file.
Yeah. Very good. So that's kind of been your life for the last X amount of time. We'll kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
Like eking a living off of our pretty boy's debit card and like whatever work you kind of get, trying to lay low in different systems with the only ship you have. available.
What if not all jump gates are built equally and there is a limited amount of
Oh,
jump gates that
yeah.
can accommodate the Amber Star?
Oh, like when I have to fly with Fenris on a plane.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
Cargo hold doors don't fit
Yeah.
that dog crate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And like trying to
So-
go places where we know we can go to multiple directions from. or,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if there's like branches to the jump gate, you have a better chance of having a longer time before they catch up to you.
But
Mhm.
also, if it's big enough to fit us, it's big enough to fit
To
them.
fit them,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Even just one of their ships.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Terrifying.
Yep.
Ha ha ha.
So good.
That's great.
Everything's fine. We're not in danger.
It's cool. It's cool. It's fine.
I probably haven't mentioned that they also have smaller ships too.
Oh, I'm sure that they do.
Oh yeah. No, that's a learn next week. All right. Awesome. Well, that is almost perfect time for our window of playing games. You're all pros. I love it. So this has been session 0 of Starscape, a soon-to-be kickstarted brand new RPG system. If you go to goldenlassogames.com/Kickstarter, you can follow the Kickstarter notification page and be notified when it goes live in June, very, very soon. We're going to be playing every Monday. We are taking next Monday off so I can prep stuff as a GM. And then after that, we're going to be playing every Monday with this exciting found family crew, seeing how close they get, how they trust each other, how they hate each other, how they love each other, all the things in this wonderful sci-fi adventure. So thank you so much, everyone. Yay.
Yay.
I'm so excited. I'm very, very, very excited about this. And it's after like 3 years of like small tweaks, playtest, small tweaks, playtest, small tweaks. It's great to have it like unveiled for everyone.
Yeah.
And excited about the Kickstarter. So cool. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.